Oh, my God.
Sandra?
Oh, damn you, Veronica.
Sandra? Are you down there? Sandra? Are you...
Oh!
Where's Sandra?
She's gone out.
Oh, no. She wouldn't go out. She wouldn't go out without telling me.
She's dead.
Oh,
Don't look. She's a ghastly mess.
oh, God. Oh, God.
Don't you see? I have to make a decision.
Why? Why didn't you ever come back to me?
No, it couldn't. Not ever. It could never be, Veronica.
For God's sake. Why, John? What are you... Oh, God. What are you going to do?
I was going to kill you. I was going to. It's simple, really, isn't it?
Oh,
Well, in the safe. I was going to put you... I was going to put you in the safe with the family silver. And then later, I was going to take you to attend the safe in the boat and, oh, God. It's all gone wrong. Veronica, and you'll see. That's why I have to make a decision. It's all gone wrong because you didn't know the rules.
John, go home and get rid of your clothes. I don't know, burn them or something. You can do that. Then go to the Claremont. Okay, meet your friends, have dinner. Or, look, I'll call the police and tell them that I've been... Oh, that someone broke in. That there was an assault and Sandra was hurt and I was attacked. Oh, please, John. Look, Sandra doesn't have a lot of friends. I mean, she doesn't call her family. No, listen to me. Oh, please, people will miss her. Not a lot of people. We could get rid of her body, and nobody would know, John. Nobody.
You.
Well, what do you mean?
You would know.
No, I don't understand.
Look, sleeping pills. Have you got any?
Oh, no, I don't. Yes, upstairs.
Come on.
Upstairs. Oh, John, please.
Look, it's your duty. Don't you see? You must do the right thing, Veronica.
Oh, no.
You must die for the sake of the Lucans. It is your duty to take an overdose. Don't you understand that?
Yes, all right. Upstairs. Anything. Oh, please. Children! He's in the house!
Get closer.
What the hell? He's murdered the nanny. He's still in the house. George!
Who?
He's murdered the nanny. He's still in the house.
Woman assaulted. Assistance required. Plumber's Arms, Lower Belgrave Street.
Oh, it's probably nothing, but we'd better give it a look. Okay, Control. We've got it. Out. Step on it.
Anything, Sarge?
Not a sod.
Do we go in?
Well, I'd say we'd better, if there are kids. I can't see anything. It's that dark in there. Nothing here. No light.
There's steps down here, Sarge.
All right.
And there's a kind of cloakroom or something.
Don't touch anything. Bulb's gone. Someone must have taken it out. Oh.
Hold on, it's over here.
Well, put it in. This must be the breakfast room. There's blood splashed across the walls. 2 big sprays. Blood on kitchen table. Note it down. More blood sprayed over the piano and the dumb waiter in the corner. Okay. Kitchen. Oh. Canvas bag. By the fridge. Covered with blood. Leaking blood.
You gonna open it, Sarge?
Top of bag, folded over. Oh, come on, bed it, get it down. The cord at the neck isn't pulled closed. I can see part of a human thigh in black tights and an arm. No pulse.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hello, Kate Lucan?
It's all good. The mess, Mother.
John? John, is that you?
It's been terrible. The catastrophe at number 46. I was outside and there was a fight. I saw it in the kitchen basement. I went in there. Mess everywhere. Veronica screaming. It was just...
John, what is it?
I tried to clean her up. Veronica up. There was Sandra hurt.
Who was hurt? The nanny was hurt? John, who was hurt?
Sandra was hurt.
Badly?
Oh, Mother, there's something terrible in the basement. I couldn't bring myself to look.
John, what exactly happened?
The children. Can you get them?
Well, who let me in, John?
I don't know. Francis, I suppose.
Where are you going?
Well, I don't know.
Nothing been touched, Inspector. So, what have you got? Well, we got a report, sir. A woman came running into the pub.
Oh, which pub?
Plumber's Arms, just over the square.
Blood. There's a hell of a lot of it.
Yeah, the woman at the pub, sir, she'd been attacked. Face, hair, blood everywhere. I mean, there was a handprint on her back in blood.
Go on.
Well, we found out who she was and got over here and found the other woman in the basement.
Children?
They're upstairs, 3 of them.
It's dark down there. If the kitchen door was shut, you wouldn't see anything.
Oh, the light bulb on the stairs, sir, unscrewed.
Oh.
The body of the nanny's still in the canvas bag where we found it. Looks like someone was going to cart it away.
Give me a few minutes, will you? I want to be alone in here. I want to feel this place. Move along, please. Let me through, please. See? Come on.
Move along, please. Move along, then. That's
Excuse me, officer.
Ma'am, look, could you please...
What's happening here? My son telephoned me.
Who phoned you?
A short while ago, my son. I'm the children's grandmother.
Where is he?
I don't know. He just telephoned, that's all. He said... Well, he didn't say where he was. He said there'd been some sort of fight.
A fight? Well, I'm afraid your daughter-in-law's been injured and...
Sandra Rivers.
She'd been killed.
What? Well, he said the nanny had been badly hurt and he sounded really incoherent with shock. The children, I really
Yes,
should.
of course. I'll take you. Your son drove,
A blue one, a Mercedes.
Do you know where he keeps it?
Probably at his flat in Elizabeth Street. Can I see the children?
Do you know the address?
Number 72.
Right, thank you.
Hello?
Hello, Susie. Is Ian around?
John? No, he's not. Oh, look, hold on. I'll come down. You better drink this, John. Look, what on earth?
Susie, it's the most... I was walking past Veronica's tonight, and, her blinds. I mean, such an unbelievable coincidence. The Venetian, I was looking through, and she said I hired this... I mean, can you... Attacking Veronica, I saw him, and I went...
Try and calm down.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I let myself in. Oh, God, it was unbelievable. I had a key, and I went down into the basement, and I slipped. In this pool, a pool of blood at the stairs at the bottom, and he ran off.
This man who was...
Well, she was hysterical, Susie. I went covered with blood.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clear her up, and we, it was, God, the sack. There was a sack. I didn't, Sandra. Oh, God. Can I... No, I'm sorry about this. Can I use the bathroom? I need to clean my trousers. It isn't much, just a damp cloth, that's all. Then I have to call my mother again.
Of course.
Oh. Do you have any pills? Sleeping pills, Susie. I'm sure I'm going to...
I think I've got a couple of Valium. Look, why don't you stay here tonight and call the police first thing tomorrow?
I can't. I must, I must get back and clear things up. Sort things out.
Hello?
Hello, Mother. It's John. Have you got the children?
Yes, they're here in bed, and to the best of my knowledge and belief, they're fast asleep.
Well, that's all right.
Look, John, what do you intend to do?
Look, it's all right. It's all right.
I've got the police with me. Do you want to speak to them?
No, I don't think I'll, speak to them now. I'll ring them in the morning, and, I'll ring you too. Bye-bye. Susie, I have to write some...
Do you want some...
With some writing paper, yeah. And if... yes. Thank you. Dear Bill, the most ghastly circumstances arose tonight, which I briefly described to my mother. When I interrupted the fight, and the man left, Veronica accused me of having hired him. I took her upstairs and sent Frances to bed and tried to clean her up. She lay doggo for a bit, and when I was in the bathroom, she left the house. Bill, the circumstantial evidence against me is strong, in that V will say it was all my doing. I will also lie doggo for a bit, but I'm only concerned for the children. If you can manage it, I want them to live with you. For George and Frances to go through life, knowing their father had stood in the dock for attempted murder. When they're old enough to understand, explain to them the dream of paranoia and look after them.
John, are you sure?
Thank you, Susie. Thank you for...
Good evening, sir. Madam, while you were out, there were a number of calls.
Who?
Lord Lucan rang, ma'am, and the Dowager Countess called twice. She seemed to think it was most...
I'll call.
Not your sister, I hope. Veronica should be... I thought she was settling at last. It's engaged.
Try again later or in the morning. It's 1 o'clock. I'm bushed. We should...
Hello, Shankid.
Christina.
Kate,
There's
what...
an accident at Lower Belgrave Street. Veronica's in hospital.
Oh, God. Has something happened? What happened?
There's been a fight. The nanny's been hurt, and so has Veronica. Veronica will be all right, though.
Will the nanny be all right?
No.
Will she die?
She's dead.
Jesus Christ.
I put in almost 70 stitches through the lacerations on the forehead.
If you had to say, I mean, off the cuff.
Well, we're talking about your traditional blunt instrument.
Instrument. It was, I mean, intentionally.
Well, this is just now without proper... I would say whoever did it wanted her dead, not just unconscious.
Yeah. What else?
Secondary bruising? Well, attempted strangulation. Oh. The bruises are consistent under the face and neck. They would be consistent with that. And there's a large contusion under the left eye. It could be consistent with gouging.
Ah. And she's...
Sedated. Oh, yes, well, obviously.
Lady Lucan.
Oh.
My name is Gering, Chief Inspector.
Oh,
I wonder if you feel up to making a statement.
No,
that's... I understand. But I'd like you, if you could, to tell me what happened tonight.
Oh, well, I remember croaking something like, please don't kill me. John's hands were around my throat, you see, and I remember thinking, you're going to die at 37.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a bit young to die. I couldn't see, there was blood was running in my eyes, and all I wanted to do was lie down, but I knew I had to play for time. So there was sleeping pills, and he said I should take them, and we went upstairs, and
Yes, Lady Lucan.
He went into the bathroom. I was alone, you see. He couldn't hear. The taps were running and water running, and yes, and I ran. I ran away.
Yeah. You have no doubt it was your husband.
John? Oh, no doubt at all.
Oh, God. Oh, God, what a bloody stupid mess. Hey, Veronica? How the hell did... Veronica! Veronica! Veronica!
You know, when a lady from Nebraska's at a party in Alaska, she would never do a tango with an Eskimo. You can do it with a Latin from Manila.
And now for Michael Walker on his 10th birthday.
Veronica, I can't concentrate on my homework. Turn it off.
I'm not staying around here, Chris.
Why? What's wrong with it?
Can't you see? It's obvious enough.
No. It's all right. It's fine.
I don't like Jim.
You didn't like Mum getting married again, that's why. You're jealous of Jim because you were always her favourite.
That's a lie. Chris, you take that back.
Nobody ever calls you the ugly duckling.
Anyway, who wants to run a pub? It's so dreary.
That's because you make it dreary. You're always in a mood, snapping someone's head off.
I am not. You... Anyway, I'm going to London. Get a bedsitter.
What's that?
Oh, you don't know anything.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. Something.
You could be a model. Everyone says you're pretty.
But I'm not tall enough. Really not fair. You're taller than me already.
But I've got spots.
Spots go. Oh, God, I don't know, Chris. Just so boring here. I want to do something. Be someone. Do you know that Dad, not Jim, Dad, was married to the daughter of the 6th Baron Castlemaine before he married Mum?
Oh, I don't see why that's...
He was in Debrett's peerage, Chris.
So what's Debrett's porridge?
Oh, you don't understand anything, do you? Debrett's is the best book in the world. The best book in the world.
Oh, the good life, full of fun, seems to be the ideal. the good life lets you hide all the sadness you feel.
So, there we have it. In essence, Gladstone was a boring old fart.
Discuss with reference to the Irish question and the passing of the Wind Ordinance of 1879. Have you got people in Ireland, Johnny?
Some.
But then you've got people everywhere, haven't you?
It doesn't matter. They're just people, that's all.
Gosh, you really are off today. What's up, old chap?
It's my bloody parents.
Oh, the Red Earl.
Well, it's all right for you, Sponge. No one's going to take you away from the old school.
What?
Pardon. Well, you know they're both frightful socialists.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, old chap. But, I mean, I don't see no one holds it against you.
Well, they think having a son at Eton is dreadfully hypocritical of them. Man of the people, son of the soil, all that tripe. So they're going to take me away and send me some awful local reformatory.
Oh, I say they can't.
Oh, don't be a bloody fool, Sponge. Of course they can. They just have to stop paying the fees.
You mean a grammar school?
A secondary modern.
What?
Oh, God. It's Poker.
Oh, it's all right. He just wants to spoon. He can wait or take my rugby socks along to the bogs. This is serious.
Yeah, but not, as Disraeli might have said, that serious.
Oh.
But I've just had an idea, Sponge. We Lucans have always been men of action. Out with the sword, ride the enemy down, and be damned to the consequences. Fortune, dear friend, favours the bold. Speaking of which, here comes Poker, who favours you. Off you go now.
What about you?
I have a phone call to make, and after that, I think it'll be tea at the Ritz.
Yes, sir. Can I help you? Bingham. I'm meeting my aunt. Of course, my lord. If you'll come this way.
Johnny, my dear boy, sit down. Have a sandwich. Oh, excuse me.
Madam?
This sandwich is curled at the extremities. Please remove it and bring something that is fit to be consumed in public. Now, Johnny, what is so important that it has caused me to miss an appointment with my corsetiere?
It's very good of you to see me like this, Auntie. I know it's an imposition.
Well, don't have to use your charm on me, my dear boy. Pleasant as it is for an old battle axe to be wooed by such a handsome young man. What age are you now?
I'm nearly 16.
I dare say there are a few hearts waiting to break on your shore.
I don't know that girls really... Well, obviously, I like them, but actually, I'd rather be driving a powerboat or a racing car.
Oh, you change, no doubt. Now, come along.
Can I be honest?
Bingham is never anything else.
Well, you know that you did say a few years ago that you intended, well, hoped to leave some of your... Well, that I would be your heir in time.
Oh, should I examine these sandwiches more closely?
You're already giving the maitre d' kittens. No, it's just that... Well, Mother and Father have got this idea that they should take me away from Eton and send me to a local school.
That's the trouble with socialists. They always want to do things to improve other people. Do you want me to have a word with Kate or your father?
I'm afraid they're dead set on it, Aunt. They won't change their minds.
Oh, go on.
Well, you see, it did occur to me that you might, perhaps, see your way to giving me a lump sum now rather than later, which I could use to pay my own fees at the old school. If you don't think that's too awful.
Awful? I think it's absolutely brilliant. You have quite the Lucan touch, dear boy.
Oh, I think you can get anything you want, if you want it badly enough.
And walk. With our backs as straight as pokers, ladies. And walk, keeping our heads up. If you please, Veronica, you will never achieve success if you slump. Does Barbara Golan stump? In the old days, they would have tied your shoulders back. Come along, we wish to be mannequins, not window dummies. Oh, Veronica, please, at least try to look charming. I know it's difficult being so small.
I beg your pardon. I can hardly help being the height I am.
Comte, rouge et pair.
Looks pretty much like an ordinary room to me.
How many rooms do you know with a chamois table and a baccarat shoe?
You'd be surprised.
Ah. Have you met Ronnie Roberts? This is his little sideline. Ronnie.
Hello, Dominic. How's the heiress? Not tired of her yet?
John, may I present Ronnie Roberts? Ronnie, do you know Lord Lucan?
I've heard about you, my lord. They say you were a lucky poker player in the mess. What was it, Coldstream Guards?
I had to do something to while away the hours in Germany.
Ah, but are you lucky?
I hope so.
Why?
Well, it's the quality I admire above all others. That and dash.
Runs in the family, I dare say. But what about loyalty?
Oh, yes, to one's own people. And bravery.
And you two should get on. Ronnie is quite simply the bravest man I've ever met. There's little he won't try and nothing he's afraid of.
Consequences, old man, make cowards of most of us. Once you stop fearing them, you're free.
Free to run a casino.
John, people want to gamble. As it is, most of the clubs are run by gangsters.
Oh?
Oh, people like Charlie Mitchell. I mean, they call him the Axeman. He has a way with amputations. Johnny Mackay, Reggie Cray. Oh, quite a coming lad is Reggie. As Jack Spot found to his cost.
Not this club, though.
No. We need to free ourselves of these kind of people. Make gambling an occupation fit for gentlemen and to ruin themselves.
Well, there's no point in trying to work in this country nowadays. Bloody socialists have turned us into a little Russia.
That's an interesting point of view, John, but it does leave one with the question, how does one spend one's time?
Ronnie wants to save the animal kingdom, you know. Tigers and all that.
Whilst Dominic wants to find a place for this evening at someone else's table.
Oh.
What about you, my lord?
I intend to be a gambler.
And that will satisfy your needs?
Oh, one generally gets what one wants if one wants it enough. Success. Well, for me, I think it's 60% luck, 20% industry, and 20% gambling skill. All right, money isn't everything, but believe me, avarice is the spur to industry.
But then you have your inheritance.
And with my skill, I shall double it and have a great deal of fun whilst I do so. One of my ancestors, the 4th Earl, once ran up a grocery bill of £4,000. And that's when money meant something. Perhaps I should aspire to that.
Why not, old boy? After all, what's to stop us?
Are you Ronald Arthur Roberts?
I do believe I am.
Well, sir, you will be charged under the Betting and Gaming Act of 1947 with keeping a common gaming house.
My dear fellow, this is the Earl of Lucan. If you look over there, you will see Lord Portmeirion. I can assure you there was nothing common in here until you arrived.
Where's the milk? Under the damp tea cloth. I don't know how you stand this place. It's pretty grim. It'll do. Till something better turns up. If the show succeeds. Is that what all this stuff is? Mm-hmm. Little Mary Sunshine. It's a musical. Oh, I'm just doing the secretarial work, but if it takes off, Terry and Paul have promised. Oh, the pan! Oh, that's all right. There's a paper mob it up. Oh, I know him. Who? This chap. Ronnie Roberts. They've done him for gambling, running a casino. Look. Mr. Roberts told the court, I've been giving parties since the age of 10, and I'm awfully fond of playing the host. He got off, too. They say that gambling's going to be legal anyway soon. Oh, good. Where did you meet him? He's a friend of Bill Shan Kidd. Oh? You know, Rachel's friend who does that downhill racing, Sam Ritz and all that stuff. No. Why would I know him? You don't introduce me to all your snobby friends. Oh, come on, Veronica. I hardly know him. We just went to one ball together. Thank you, Cinderella. But he is rather nice. Well, I told you your spots would go. And you're tall. Oh, you've got it all now, Chris. Come on. Your show will take off. You'll be an impresario with your own yacht and your picture in all the papers. Oh, I don't know what I want. I want to be someone. Know who I am, to know that my blood and my breeding is special somehow. Oh, I want to marry a nobleman out of a fairy tale and ride behind white horses.
What do you think, Dominic? Do you think she'll take it?
For God's sake, John, slow down. Or whatever it is sailors are supposed to do. I'm going to be sick.
Oh. Well, isn't she splendid? I'm calling her White Migrant. Going to enter her into the Daily Express race of cars.
Oh, that's better. I really would have been sick, you know.
I'll have to give you cheaper champagne in future, Dominic, if you're going to empty it straight into the gunnels.
I think it's the vibration of the engine.
Really? I hear you puked all over Ronnie Roberts' plane the other week. Was that the vibration, too?
It was the aerobatics. I do love Ronnie, but he's a bit wild at times. There'd been a big game at the club. I was surprised you weren't there. 50,000 over the table and more on the side. Quite your style, I thought.
Couldn't make it, old chap. Dilshan Kid got married, you know. Or you would have if you hadn't been in a stupor.
Of course I knew. I was invited.
Really?
What's she like, the girl?
Christina Duncan. Rather a corker.
Family?
None to speak of. Dominic, hop along there and throw the line ashore, will you? I'm going down to the Shan Kid place in Bedfordshire this weekend.
Oof, not the great mansion. All those awful cows and pigs and things. God, I hate the country.
The people are generally interesting.
I thought we knew all the interesting people already. Or do you mean the girls?
For a man who ran away with an heiress, Dominic, you do sound awfully loose.
I was young and thoughtless.
And poor, don't forget poor.
And you are none of those. I've often wondered, old chap.
Yes?
If you are, in fact... Oh, wait for me!
Yes?
Ever going to get married? I mean, the occasional boff de politesse is all very well, but a noble line requires...
Dominic, why don't you be a good fellow and run over to the club and order a couple of bottles to be put on ice?
Yes, sir.
Oh, don't worry, I'll pay. All you have to do is tell the jokes.
I did after we got married.
No, of course I do, Christy.
Really? I went and bought myself a huge bottle of pine bath essence. Do you remember that? When I was 9. And we went to that friend of Mum's. Big place. Well, we thought it was big then. And they had this super bathroom with pine bath essence.
Do you remember that?
Just tipping it into the water and lying there soaking forever.
Spots don't last, right?
Look, don't feel shut out, Veronica. You know you're always welcome here. And Bill's mum does make you an allowance.
Oh, I know. It's just that somehow I thought my life would change first, and here's my little sister, zooming past on the outside and waving goodbye.
You'll meet someone. You'll see.
Oh, but not like Bill. He's a modern hero. All those things he does, sailing and riding horses. Prince Charming I thought I'd meet first.
Did you know he and a friend have this bet? Whichever one rides the most national hunt winners in a season gets a tip-top lunch bought him at a well-known resi. Anywhere in the world.
He's got style.
Christina, there you are. I brought Jimmy and John back for me. It's too damp for good golf.
Oh, Jimmy! John, you dear old thing. Have you met my sister Veronica?
No. How do you do?
Oh, fine. Thank you.
Come on, you need some dry clothes.
Who was that?
Oh, Jimmy.
No, not him, the other one.
John Lucan. Now he's your Prince Charming. Bobsleigh in the Olympics. Racing his powerboat at Cowes. Frightfully rich. Frightfully lucky.
Really rather handsome, don't you think?
A lot of girls do.
But he's not...
Nothing that I know of.
Better than little Mary Sunshine by a long way.
Good evening, my lord. A bit chilly.
Indeed it is, Billy.
Nice to see you again. May I take your coat?
Thank you.
Good evening, my lord. Will you be dining this evening?
Oh, I don't know yet, Max. Depends how the play runs.
I hope you will have the very best of fortune, sir. Mr. Roberts did ask me to mention that we have a rather fine salmon tonight.
Ronnie always knows how to tempt one, eh?
Yes, my lord. Mr. Roberts knows how to tempt the gentleman. Shall I hold a table for you?
Well...
Oh, no charge, my lord. Mr. Roberts is only happy you choose to patronize.
Well, why not?
My lord, would you care for cigarettes? A cigar?
Thank you. Put it on my...
Mr. Roberts' compliments, sir.
Lucky old chap, how nice to see you.
Lucky, you're looking fit as a fiddle.
Been out on the boat, Trudy.
Is it true you're going to win?
I always win, didn't you know? Hello, Bill.
John, how are you? Haven't seen you since this morning.
Excuse me, my lord. Will you require some chips?
Of course he will. Lucky without chips is like...
A fish without chips?
Oh, hardly. This is a man who won't talk to a chap if he's wearing the wrong shoelaces.
Bill, drink.
Buying, Dominic?
Oh, it's all on the tab here. Ronnie never charges.
All we have to do is be seen.
Yes, and play. Isn't that so, Ronnie?
Well, I
I
don't
just want you to have a decent time. It's hard enough nowadays, after all, for a gentleman to find somewhere which isn't overrun with undesirables. As I believe you said once, Lucky, excitement and risk are no longer respectable in this country.
Oh, God, respectable. What a dreary little world some people live in.
That's why people look to us to provide them with a shiver, with a feeling that maybe rules are not made to be obeyed by everyone. Right, Lucky?
Excuse me, my lord. It's a small matter. Your check.
I'm sorry?
Last week, sir, when you last...
Oh, all right. What's wrong with it?
If I could have
May
a
I?
private...
What is it? Let me see. Oh, John, I love the way you sign your checks with a straight line. I expect that's why the bank returned it. In future, please check with me before approaching my friends.
Mr. Roberts, I apologize for disturbing you.
Well, that disposes of that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I see Prince Azul Ben Fazl or some such has honoured us tonight. I must go and be diplomatic. Oh, dear. Seems to have brought his mistress along, too. What a pity. Women and gambling really don't mix. I think you're so sensible, Bill, keeping your little woman at home. My dear Prince, how delightful to see you.
Champers, anyone? Why not? John, are you coming over this weekend for the golf?
Yeah, only if you can guarantee decent weather.
Well, I can't do that. But what bird do you want?
Oh, the one I met in April. Little blonde. Lots of hair.
Just as well you're a professional gambler and not a golfer. Come on, let's get a drink. So, what do you think of the little Veronica?
Oh, rather a nice sort, actually. Doesn't jump at you, not all over you. Nice. Well, you know what women can be like. Only she seems... vulnerable. Maybe it's because she's so delicate. You want to... Well, I don't know. I'm not good at all at this romantic stuff. And it doesn't seem to matter with her. To tell you the truth, old chap, a lot of our sort of girl rather frighten me.
And Veronica doesn't.
You feel you want to look after her.
Not me, old chap. I've got the little sister.
Yeah, but she is vulnerable. Terribly, terribly pretty.
Well, I'll be a Dutch uncle.
Would you like to step onto the terrace, Miss Duncan?
I wish you'd call me Veronica.
Veronica. It's a jolly nice name. Shall we?
Oh, isn't it a beautiful night? So many stars, you could almost reach out and grab handfuls of them.
Yeah. Well, I've been having rather a time myself. I expect you heard about the race.
Oh, there was a bit of a problem, wasn't there?
Absolutely infuriating.
Well, that you didn't win.
Oh, that doesn't matter. I would have won. White Migrant's by far the best boat in the race. You know, I hired a cameraman and a helicopter to follow me, record the whole thing.
Really? Well, however much did that cost?
Cost? I don't know. Something I expect. Anyway, there they were, buzzing along behind me as I led the field, and then the boat begins to sink. Water bubbling up around my ankles, yeah? And me standing there at the salute, captain stays with the ship and all that, as the rest of the field stream past. And I'm thinking, well, at least it'll look good. The 7th Earl going down with all hands, recorded forever on film. And then the silly bugger of a pilot runs out of fuel, has to clear off back to base, and I'm left there, up to my ears by now, waving the insurance papers over my head to keep them dry.
I'm so sorry to laugh. You must have been frightfully upset.
I think we can put this one down to experience.
Well, I think you're very brave.
Actually, I was rather soggy.
No. I mean it. Really.
Do you, Veronica?
I don't tell lies, John.
Well, everybody else does.
And I'll always tell you the truth.
Promise?
Well...
John, we're going to play. Are you in?
It's a beautiful evening. Perhaps we could walk down to the lake.
I'd love to, Veronica, but,
The truth?
I'm a gambler. I love the risk, the thrill, the game, the science, if you like.
And you want to play even tonight?
I won't lie to you either, Veronica. I'm a gambler. I don't think I'll ever change.
I don't think I'd want to change you.
John. But do you think you might care to, well, perhaps come out one night soon, if it's not...
It would be a pleasure, John.
John. Coming. Coming right now, old man.
It's like fairyland. I never believed people actually lived like this until Christina married Bill Kidd. And I never believed I'd ever live like Kit.
It's only a garden party. Nothing special. Hello, Tommy.
John, old chap, how are you? Looking fit as a fiddle. You racing this year?
Don't know yet.
Well, maybe see you at the Nyarkov badge.
Drink.
I don't need a drink.
We've had some fun these last few weeks, haven't we?
It's been the happiest time of my life.
Oh, come on.
I told you I never lie.
Just a few restaurants, your chip away, and it's not a lot.
You've made me happy, John. Being with you.
It's awfully nice of you, Veronica.
It's not doing things, it's just feeling... Oh, you'll say I'm silly.
I'm sure I won't.
Well, it's just feeling that I'm up where I belong. With a person I belong... No, it is. It's silly.
Actually, it's rather sweet. But did I tell you about the time I fell off the bobsleigh coming down the crest run at 70 miles an hour and...
Shh, don't tell me about anything.
But you'll be terribly bored.
Just hold me. And kiss me.
Well, John.
Well, Mother.
Tea?
Oh, do socialists drink afternoon tea out of Minton? I thought you all used tin mugs.
John, I think I can live with it if you can. You're looking particularly,
Happy?
Yes, why not?
Why not, indeed. I am happy. I have some good news for you.
You've given up gambling?
Better than that. I'm going to get married.
Well, John, do I know the girl?
Veronica Duncan. And you don't know now.
What's she like?
Well, she's pretty. At least I think she is. She's an ash blonde. She's short, and you'll be very pleased because she hasn't got any money.
I hope you'll be very, very happy.
I know I will. Difficult to keep it at the right temperature.
You never told me you had family in South Africa. But I grew up here. We might have met.
I doubt it. Enjoying yourself, Lady Lucan?
I hated it here before. I never fitted in somehow. The animals and the felt, that was different, but the people... They were horrid. Always picking at you. You know, snide remarks you couldn't hear properly, but you knew they were whispering and laughing behind your back anyway. And when you tried to be friends, and when you tried to speak to them, they ignored you, like you weren't even there. Well, in the end, it got so bad that I had to see...
Hey, take it easy, old thing. It's all right. There's nothing wrong. Well, enjoy yourself. The whole world is ours. We can do anything. Go anywhere we want. It's ours, Veronica.
Once I wanted everything. And now... I've got it.
Mesdames, Messieurs, rien ne va plus.
He did ring to tell me about the engagement, and I said, when do we meet her? And he said, well, I'd love you to, but she's not exactly your type. God, how grisly.
Oh, come on now, give her a chance. She's not so bad.
Oh, no more divine little lunches with John, though, not with wifey in tow.
You might like her.
Yes, one always felt so safe with Lucky. No worries about l'amour. I suppose he married her for the heirs. Good stock, is she?
She's not particularly pretty. She has no money, but she does have a shrewish temperament.
Hello, Ronnie.
Ronnie, how nice to see you. Aren't the animals missing you? Is it really true that some brat got his head in a tiger's mouth and you just pulled the door open?
It's easy enough, Sarah. Merely a question of establishing dominance.
Over a full-grown Bengal tiger.
You have to know exactly what you want and then take it, unlike John Lucan. He's rather an interesting young chap, bags of class and talent, but he can't manage to find himself a halfway presentable wife.
Oh, I think she's clever, the little Veronica. She knows exactly what she wants. Unfortunately, she thinks she knows how to get it, and that, I fear, could make her very dangerous.
Oh, come on, Mickey, to who?
To John, you bloody fool. She doesn't have the least understanding of what a gambler is.
And what is a gambler?
A gambler would have left the child's head in the tiger's jaws and put money on his survival.
So I'm not a gambler.
Oh, no. You're the tiger, Ronnie.
down by a head. By a nose. Well, look, he's level. He's scored level. And now he's got in front. He's in front by about half a leg. He's won! He's won, darling. Well done.
We've won! I've won! Oh, my horse has won. Oh, come on, let's go down the enclosure.
I'm sure. It's not we tried it.
Oh, come on, don't be grouch.
Who, me?
I'm having fun. Can't you see that? I'm enjoying myself. Coffee, Christina.
Not for me. It'll stop me sleeping.
Oh, nothing stops me sleeping.
Not even John.
Really? Well, sometimes I do wake up.
What do you think about?
Same old things. Being kids.
So you never really liked being young?
Since my elevation, I've come to look at a lot of things differently.
Oh, what?
Well, it's true, isn't it? You may be Mrs. Shan-Kidd, but I'm the Countess of Lucan. Oh, God, how I wish some of those snotty little bitches could see me now.
So you still read Debrett?
The stud book, of course. I don't want to let John down once we get back.
Look, I don't want to be bossy or anything.
Oh, I thought I was a bossy one.
But have you thought about it? Going back? About what you'll do?
Do? Oh, there's so much to do. The house, we've got to get that decorated, and then there are things to buy, places to go, all sorts of things, really.
But that's not going to last forever. You and John... Well, John is...
I do know my own husband, thank you, Christina.
I'm just trying to say that he's a gambler.
Oh, we've talked all that through. John has given me books about it. Oh, no, I can't see any problems. I'll go to the club with him. It won't be any different from being in Las Vegas or Monte Carlo or...
Maybe. If you are a gambler, like John.
It's all right. I can look after myself.
Hey, give us a hand here. We want something big.
Ooh!
Good evening, my lord. Lady Lucan. Nice to see you back, sir.
Thank you, Billy. I hear there's a big game on tonight.
I believe there is, my lord.
Evening, Max.
Good evening, my lord. Lady Lucan. How nice to see you again, sir. Will you be dining tonight?
I think so. Veronica?
Oh, yes.
Your usual table, my lord?
I don't think so, Max.
Lucky, it's lovely to see you again. And you brought Veronica. How nice.
Champagne, dear.
Oh, thank you. I expect he'll have you sitting on the widow's bench before tonight is out, Veronica.
Widow's bench?
It's under the stairs, actually. It's all very grand. You can sit and smoke and watch the telly whilst old Lucky here loses the family silver.
I don't lose.
Of course he doesn't. John, lovely to see you. Veronica, how nice of you to drop in. I hope you won't find this too boring.
Yeah, I intend to accompany my husband every night.
How charming. John, are you joining us? It's a professionals' game, right up your street, and I know Mr. Poindexter would be charmed to meet a real lord.
With you in a minute. Veronica, why don't you have another drink and wait for me,
On the widow's bench?
We'll have a bit of supper in a while. Won't be long.
Did you hear about Dominic and the Duke of Shropshire?
Lady Lucan, may I pour you another drink?
Well, why not? Excuse me. Excuse me. Could you fetch me another drink and some cigarettes, please?
Well, that's me out.
Mr. Poindexter?
Oh, call me Jack.
Jack?
Oh, I'll raise you 2,000.
Well, I'll cover that.
You surely do have style, Sir Lucan. But all the same, I think you're bluffing.
Well, you're going to have to pay to find out.
Are they still playing?
It's early yet.
Oh, how long do they go on for?
Until the game is over, my dear. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Can you do be in love and rescue me from this dreary person?
Hello, darling. I'm sorry I've been so long. Did they give you dinner?
Yes, and coffee and more champagne. Can we go now?
Well, let me call you a taxi.
What do you mean?
We're just taking a little break. Some sandwiches, that sort of thing. We'll be playing for a while yet.
Well, how long?
I don't know. 2, 3, 4 hours. Why don't you go home?
Because I want to be with you.
Fine. But if you don't mind waiting.
No, I don't mind waiting.
Oh, Ronnie.
Not losing your wind, John.
No, just, look, could we have a private word? See, I'm a little bit,
Of course, old man. Just step into my office. Do excuse us, Lady Lucan. May I get them to send you a drink?
Back in time for breakfast. Tired?
Exhausted.
I could call a taxi.
Oh, no, I'd rather walk. After all, it's not far. Living as a shop, really.
Excuse me. Can I have a bottle of milk, please?
Sure, mate. There you go. 6pence, if you don't mind.
Veronica, have you,
Here.
Aye, thank you.
Don't you carry any money?
I had some, but it all went into the pot. A drink?
No, it's common to drink out of the bottle. Didn't you win tonight?
Afraid not. A bit down, in fact.
How much?
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. I'd just like to know.
Well, a bit.
How much? Oh, come on, you can tell me. You obviously had to tell Ronnie when you were borrowing money from him.
Oh, you are sharp.
Well?
8,500, more or less.
What? You...
Come on, old girl. I've won as much half a dozen times.
I suppose so.
I'll give Ronnie a cheque for it next week and add a bottle of bubbly. All in a night's work.
Good evening, my lord. How nice to see you. Lady Lucan, will you be dining, my lord?
Yes, why not? And afterwards...
Mr. Roberts' compliments, sir, and you might find the game at table 4 amusing. Good evening, my lord. How nice to see you. Lady Lucan, will you be dining, my lord?
Yes, why not? And afterwards...
Mr. Roberts' compliments, sir, and you might find a play at the big board worth your attention tonight. Lady Lucan, is there anything I can get for you?
No, thank you.
Good evening, my lord. How nice to see you. Lady Lucan, will you be dining, my lord?
Yes, why not? And afterwards...
Mr. Roberts' compliments, sir, and you might consider joining his party at the Shemmy table. Lady Lucan, may I escort you to a table?
No, thank you, Max.
As you wish, my lady. Good evening, my lord. How nice to see you. Will you be dining, my lord? Lady Lucan, some of the other ladies are getting up.
Thank you, Max. I'm quite capable of amusing myself.
Merely a suggestion, my lady.
No, please keep your suggestions to yourself in future, Max.
I do apologize if I've offended you in any way, lady.
Veronica, I have to play.
Mr. Roberts' compliments, sir, and you are expected at the poker table. Good evening, my lord. How nice to see you. Lady Lucan.
Yes. Good evening.
Mr. Roberts' compliments, sir. You are playing in the Suffolk game tonight.
John, please, I'm not feeling too good. Could we leave it tonight and go home early?
Let me call you a taxi, my lady.
No, it's all right.
No trouble at all, my lady. Billy, taxi for Lady Lucan.
Veronica, you didn't have to wait out for me.
Oh, I wanted to tell you something, John.
You don't have to wait till 4 in the morning.
Well, I hardly see you otherwise.
Oh, come on. We're out together every night.
Together?
Well, it's a living.
Not much of one lately. Oh, I think I'm bringing you bad luck, John.
It's not that, old girl. It's just I'm a bit concerned that you're bored at the club.
No, you're worried that I'm letting you down. They don't like me, your friends. I try, John, I do.
It's all right. Nothing to worry about.
Well, anyway, there is something good I can do for you.
Oh?
I can give you a son.
I'm sorry, I don't...
No, that's why I had to come home. I'm pregnant, John. We'll be a real family soon, and then we can be together all the time.
A family man. Well.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh.
Anything up? I thought you were resting.
No, look, John, I just found my name in the new debrette.
Of course, you would be. Anyway, I'm off.
Oh, must you? I thought we might go to a show together.
Another day, another dollar.
Another day, another debt.
Come on, push. Harder, love, harder.
Lady Lucan.
Come on, grin and bear it. Your mum did it for you.
I wish she hadn't. Well, I untip you.
Oh, here it comes. It's a big one.
Oh, don't tell me that. It's a girl.
Oh, lovely little girl.
Oh. That bloody Roberts, you still owe him money.
Gamblers always owe money.
Oh, you've used it all up, everything.
Don't be silly. You're overwrought, that's all.
Your inheritance has all gone to Ronnie and the rest of them.
Oh, please, Veronica, try and control yourself. Look, there's nothing to be gained by this. You don't want to have a recurrence of your old, trouble.
What trouble?
Well, you know, your mental, imbalance.
What are you talking about?
Well, you know, when you were a child, when you were so upset.
Oh, for God's sake.
I mean, we don't want...
What do you think is because I've got bad blood?
Of course I don't. I would rather not have to argue.
Oh, you never want to argue. You're like a bloody statue standing there, so fine and noble, but all you are is a lump of stone. Well, I'm not stone, John. I'm flesh and blood, and so is your child.
We can discuss this later.
When, John? When? You're never at home.
Would you like to see the baby now?
I'd love to. Thank you, sister.
But only if you promise not to pretend to be the specialist. Oh, you should see him, Lady Lucan, pretending to be the doctor. He was so sympathetic, too.
Oh, yes. He's very sympathetic.
Yes, thank you, Billy.
Oh, good evening, my lord. How nice to see you. May I congratulate you on the birth of Lady Frances?
Yes, why not? Thank you, Max.
Mr. Roberts suggested that perhaps you might enjoy these. The comforts of the house tonight. And, my lord, there is a game starting a little earlier tomorrow. If you could be here by 5.
I don't know that I can. My wife...
Mr. Roberts especially requested your presence, sir. And the bank returned your cheque. Perhaps you could...
Yes, an oversight, obviously.
Oh, obviously, my lord.
Francis, shush now.
But of course we must have a nanny.
Why, John?
I'm sorry?
Why must we have a nanny?
Well, people do.
But I love children. I want to spend time with Frances.
So do I.
Well, then it's a pity you can't manage to do so, isn't it?
Nanny Jenkins is first
Well, I'm
class.
sure she is, but that's not the point. She'll be a wedge between me and Frances. Children need to feel secure around their own parents.
But you need to be able to live your own life, too.
I didn't marry you to live my life. I thought we were going to live our life. Obviously, I was wrong.
Look, you don't care for the Claremont. You know that.
They don't care for me? Oh, yes, they're quite happy with you. Ronnie loves having you around because you're such an attractive figure.
Oh, please, Veronica.
And you look like a lord when so many of them don't.
It isn't as easy as you think.
There's a child now and then. There'll be more. Shh.
I don't know if you should.
Well, I know I'm small, but I'm quite capable of having children. Or is it my mind you're worried about?
Oh, look, try not to get too upset, Veronica. You don't want to upset yourself.
Caring about my child's future is not upsetting myself.
Well, maybe I should call the doctor.
Why, you will?
Look, I have to go out.
You have to go back to the club, don't you?
Yes, I do. If you'll excuse me.
Good evening, my lord. How nice to see you. Will you be dining first, my lord?
I don't think I'll bother. Who's playing tonight?
The usual crowd, my lord. They're all waiting for you.
Okay.
Shh now. Hush now, baby. Don't cry. There are those people who comment on the social differences between my husband and myself.
Oh, good evening, my lord. How nice to see you.
Hello, Max. Is Mr. Roberts right?
I'm afraid not, my lord, but he did ask me to mention a small matter of settlement, sir.
Oh, yes, of course. What is it now?
It is itemized, my lord. If you will excuse me.
Yes, thank you. Oh, my God.
But if they'd only listened to him, they'd hear him state quite clearly, there is no social difference between us. There is no difference. There are no differences between us.
Good evening, my lord. Lady Lucan is keeping well, I trust?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts would like you to hold yourself available for the Belton party. They may need a fourth. Will you be having dinner, sir, while you wait?
Hush, hush now. Daddy's gone a-hunting to find a rabbit skin to wrap a baby Francis in. Come along now, Francis. Button your coat. Master George, fingers go in gloves, not noses. Thank you. Camilla, not on the carpet. Ah, Lady Lucan. Here we are, all ready to go to the park. Oh, thank you, Nanny. Where are you going? To see the guards, his lordship's old regiment. Oh, well, be good, won't you, children? Don't go running off. And always listen to Nanny. Come along, children. Oh, Lady Lucan, will Lord Lucan be in tonight? Francis wants to show him some of her pictures.
So Lucky turns to him and he says, if you don't mind, old sausage, I'd prefer it if you didn't piss into the pool.
Absolute bollocks, Dominic.
That's not what I heard.
The question is, glass or decanter?
Oh, from a man who doesn't wear a hat at the racetrack.
As everyone knows a gentleman should.
Well, I say, where are my lamb chops, anyway? Ronnie, the service is to hell nowadays.
If I'm not mistaken, Johnny, you've just eaten them. You seem to be a little under the weather. Will you be playing in the backgammon tournament this weekend?
I don't know, Ronnie. Things have been getting a little tight lately.
Well, middle-aged spread lucky. You're turning into the respectable middle-class husband.
God.
Such a waste.
I think he'd better play now that he's got the boy down for Eton.
How old is he?
4.
Doing all right, is he?
What do you mean, Ronnie?
Oh, at school, that sort of thing.
I've not heard anything of him.
Lucky, relax. How could we hear anything?
About Veronica. I won't stand for gossip, you know.
Look, old chap, I was merely asking about your son's schoolwork. No more, no less.
If things aren't going well between you two, it's no business of ours.
No, of course. You're right, it isn't.
Give him another drink, will you, someone?
Come on. Come on.
Hello?
Oh, hello, Chris, it's Veronica.
I am in a bit of a hurry.
Can you come over? John's away for the weekend, some gambling thing, and oh, God, I just feel bloody awful. I can't seem to settle, and well, look, I need someone here. I don't feel safe.
Oh, come on, Veronica. Of course you're safe.
Oh, yes? Do you know he wanted to have me committed?
He was just concerned about you. You have been, well, nervous recently. Maybe you had your children too close together or something, I don't know. But you really ought to get out. See people. Do things. It's not healthy for you just being stuck inside all the time.
Oh, yes, I know, but it isn't easy for me. I don't know anybody except his friends.
Well, whose fault is that? You dropped the people you used to know.
Well, they hardly fitted, did they? I mean, I am Lady Lucan. I can hardly consort with any old...
Veronica, this is me. Remember? The one with the spots?
He tells people lies about me. When he's at the club, they all talk and they laugh at me. Chris, they laugh at me.
You're just being paranoid. Nobody laughs at you.
Don't you see? He's got all the power on his side. He's got a title, money, friends. Everybody sees things from his point of view. I'm just an obstruction. You know, he's been reading books about psychiatry. Even the doctors listen to him.
Stop it. Just get a grip on yourself.
It's the same thing over and over and over. And I can't escape.
Of course you can escape.
Oh, I'm so alone. And I'm surrounded by spies. His spies. He pays them to spy on me. You know that. Nanny Jenkins. Oh, yes, I've seen her reporting on me to his lordship. Good old Nanny Jenkins taking my children away.
Veronica.
Well, he's not going to walk all over me with his sneering superiority. I can be strong, too.
Oh, well, that's it. I'm bearing off the last, and you still seem to be on the bar. I'd say you should change your advisors.
Are you implying, sir, that I've given bad advice?
Not at all, my friend. I was merely attempting to make defeat a little more palatable.
No, I do not need an Arab to tell me how to accept defeat. And, sir, I'm not your friend.
Then perhaps you would be kind enough to write me a check for your losses.
Certainly.
Thank you, Lord Lucan.
Thank you, Prince. Now, if you'll excuse me... vodka, Solitznaya.
Bloody hell, Lucky, you told him off.
Bloody wogs and niggers.
Steady on.
Yeah, she sacked Nanny Jenkins, you know that?
What? Who?
Veronica wants to spend more time with her children. More time? She spends most of her time in bed reading to Brett. It's a miracle if she gets up for luncheon. How's George going to get to school on time if there's no one to drive her there?
Relax. You're not the first chap to have a difficult wife.
Oh, she's mad. She does things.
You could spend a bit more time with her.
Oh, all we ever do now is argue. Can you imagine what it's like? A wet day in Birmingham, a constant drizzle of complaints. Why won't I get a proper job? Why do you have to be at the club in the morning and the evening? Why haven't I paid this bill or that bill? God, I cared for that woman once.
Maybe you still do. Otherwise...
I've got to get out. I won't be put in a box by her.
What about the children?
Well, she's not fit to look after them.
Can you prove that? Because you'll have to.
I could get an interim care order.
Wouldn't be permanent.
Well, they're my children.
Hers too, old man.
I'll do it. I have to do something. I have to act. She'll come to her senses in the end. She'll see how it is.
How is it, Lucky?
How? Well, that cheque I just gave to Ali Ben bugger off. I can't cover it, Dominic. I can't borrow any more from Ronnie. All this trouble at home, it's destroying me as a gambler. If I'm going to win, I must have peace. I must have peace in my home. Here, let me do it.
Don't touch me.
I'll go.
Come on. Bloody well. Come on. Who is it? It's Dr. Paul Brett.
Lady Logan, good afternoon. Your husband called. He said you were upset.
We'd had a row, Doctor. I'm a little concerned about Veronica's,
mental health was the word he had leave. If you could excuse us, my lord. Lady Logan, you don't mind if I stay for a few moments?
Of course not, Doctor. Won't you sit down? Shall I get them to fetch you some tea, cake, something to drink?
No,
perhaps?
nothing, thanks.
I'll be back in a moment, then.
Oh, Aunt, you can get anything you want, really, as long as you want it enough.
Lord Logan.
Well, Doctor, is she fit?
Yes, she is fit.
Thank you, Doctor. Shall I...
Oh, it's all right. I can see myself.
You wanted to have me certified. Didn't you? Didn't you?
I'll be at the Mews flat if you need to get in touch. Goodbye, Veronica.
They say she's quite mad.
No, hardly.
After Lucky took the children.
She was upset.
But I thought he was rather clever. Picking them up in the park so there wasn't a scene at the house. No hysteria. Much better for the children.
It can't be easy.
They say dozens of nurses and doctors are trooping in and out.
I wouldn't know.
And that she was committed to a clinic.
No, I don't think so. Not quite. Oh, you know, things are not going to be dreadfully pleasant with the custody hearing coming up.
But dear John has the children already.
Only on a temporary order. If he wants to keep them. Shall we get a taxi?
Surely when any judge sees Veronica...
He'll see a mother. She's hardly going to create a mad scene in court, is she?
Well, then, it'll be up to Lucky to provide the evidence, won't it? Where are you going, anyway?
I'm going to the club. Where else would I go?
I want you to follow Lady Lucan when she goes out. See who she sees, what she eats, what she does, everything.
Well, we can do that, my lord. That's no trouble. But I can't see why.
I need to know. If I'm going to keep the children, I have to present evidence in court that she isn't fit to look after them.
Well, you're going to need more than my report. She's hardly likely to put it about in public.
I know. But I've been phoning her and recording the calls. It's pretty clear, some of the stuff I've got, that she's way over the top.
Well, you'd best be careful with that kind of material. Could blow up in your face, my lord. Not the kind of thing judges like.
But I want my children.
But it would have been helpful if you'd spent more time with them before all this.
Oh, one doesn't, though. I mean, for God's sake, my parents were socialists, and they farmed me off for the whole of my childhood, anywhere but home. Judges understand that. We come from the same place.
Nursery services. Well, your best result would be permanent custody with limited access for Lady Lucan. But that isn't likely.
She's had time to plan since the children were taken. First, I will say she can cope perfectly well.
Can she?
That's why you're here.
Look, I've done lots of these cases, my lord. It's never easy. It's always messy. If I was you, I'd try to come to some arrangement before you go back to court. It's not going to be cheap. There's my operatives for a start, then you'll be paying both sets of costs yourself. You'll be putting your own relatives in the dock to give evidence.
No, that wouldn't be honourable. I couldn't do that.
But you're recording your wife's phone calls to make her look insane. What's honour got to do with it?
Well, everything. Between Veronica and me is one thing, but other people, one's friends? No, simply impossible.
Then save your money and give in, now.
Not at all, my dear fellow. If you want something enough, there's always a way.
You can't know what it's like to have your children taken away, just like that. One day 3 of them, the next silence. No sound at all. You know what he said? He gave a kitten to Francis and I cut its head off. That's what he says about me. Do you think he's fit to bring up children?
He talked to Mum, you know that. Went down to see her. Said he wouldn't call her or me to the stand.
He's also mixed up. He's in there somewhere, but he can't get out. If he could, maybe everything would have been different.
Do you mean you'd still have him back?
You know, I don't think he's a very good gambler, and I think people know that, and they use it. They use him.
Maybe.
He can't shout. He literally can't shout in anger. He'd stand there shaking, and his jaw would lock. He couldn't let it come out. "One captain on the bridge, please," that's what he'd say.
Did he hit you?
Oh, no, it's not like that. I think he's got a screw loose. One of the cogs isn't working properly. He told me he used to scream and shout when he was a child because he never got any attention from his parents. He got nightmares and headaches, and instead of love, his parents took him to a psychiatrist. He never learnt how to love anybody. All he ever learned about was duty and rules and this stupid idea that he had to be right. He'd be so sad if it wasn't so dangerous.
You do still care?
You know, I haven't changed the locks. He could come back tonight, but he won't because of his stupid pride. He believes the court is going to award him the children. He's told everybody he's going to win. He hasn't been Lucky Lucan for years.
You don't think he'll win?
Everything he believes. That I'm mad, that the courts can't fail to see this, that everything will be rosy. It all depends on him winning. And if he doesn't, then God knows what's going to happen to him.
I simply cannot believe it.
It's clear enough.
Who was the judge, for God's sake?
Well, it's hardly his fault. Well, after Christina stood up and said that she thought her sister could manage the children with medical help. Oh, and then John played those ghastly tapes he had made. It was like a nightmare, him egging her on. It was horrible. They wouldn't have given him custody of a cobra after that.
He's going to destroy Lucky.
She is going to destroy him.
No, I think he's going to destroy himself. He's been losing continually. Now he's got £20,000 costs on top of his other debts. He can't keep going.
Well, you should know all about that, Dominic.
But I wasn't born to money. John was. I don't think it's ever occurred to him that cash is finite, that it runs out and there's nothing left.
God, you don't think he'll go bankrupt?
Don't I?
Not Lucky Lucan.
Why not?
Ronnie, you always seem to turn up unannounced, rather like the Grim Reaper.
Surely his friends wouldn't let him go down the chute.
Do you have a spare 100 thou about you?
Not after playing at your tables.
Do you remember, Ronnie, when you first opened, what you said then?
I wanted to provide a setting in which English gentlemen could ruin themselves as stylishly and as suicidally as their ancestors had done 3 centuries ago. Now, I believe the chef wants a word.
What do you think that meant?
God knows. But I do know that Lucky asked to borrow $3,000 from Jimmy G.
Did he get it?
Oh, Jimmy said he wouldn't lend it, he'd give it. John wouldn't have that. Pride, you see. Pride of the Lucans. Unfortunately, pride does tend to come expensive. The third Earl only ordered the charge of the Light Brigade, but I rather feel that in his present mood, John might be tempted to lead it.
Into the Valley of Death.
Not up there, White Migrant. But quite a runner all the same, eh? It's been a bit bloody for you, hasn't it? I never thought it would come to this. Like, she gets it all, the judge calling me lawless. There's that doctor of hers saying she was... Oh, what's the use? You still have access. You can be with them. And every moment that I am, I'm thinking that I soon won't be. And they'll be back listening to Veronica's Poison. No, I don't think that's quite fair, old man. Oh, damn fairness. Where's it got me? It's lost me my only son. Damn it, Bill, I like children. I mean, we have fun together. I get on with them in a way Veronica never did. Remember when they flower bombed you and then cleaned you up with a bucket of water? I'd have gone wild. You just joined in. Peter Pan, John. You never really grew up and learned the things big people have to. I know it sounds gentle, but I don't care what happens to me anymore, just as long as I can be with them. You're drifting out of the channel. Not going to be. Ever. It isn't fair play. I should be able to live my life, Bill. Me, Richard John Bingham, 7th Earl of Lucan, Baron Bingham of Castlebar, Baron How can they take my children away from me? God, Bill, why did it all go so wrong? I mean, there are rules, aren't there? There must be rules of conduct, rules of play. She doesn't know them. She can't play the game. So she ought to be disqualified.
It's me.
How are you?
Well, I suppose I should be happy, but... Oh, it's just awful. I just need some time. I saw John after the case. He was sitting on a bench outside. His head was in his hands, and it was horrible.
He's hurt too, Veronica.
Look, could you just come up and help out for a couple of days, only until the new nanny arrives?
What's she like?
Oh, nice. Separated, with a little boy who lives with her parents.
What's her name?
Sandra Rivet. No, I think she'll be fine, but until then,
I don't know.
Oh, please. Just until I get back on my feet.
Ich kann aber den Vertretern dieser Demokratie nur sagen, dass uns dies nicht gleichgültig ist.
Do you mind if I turn that thing off?
Old Adolf?
Oh, come on, John. Pull yourself together.
Yeah, the right bloody idea, though. Don't talk, act.
You've tried that already. Remember the screen test you did for James Bond?
Yeah, they said I was too wooden. Didn't sparkle. No, Noah.
I've had too many already.
You can't have too many.
Can't you, old man?
It's all falling apart, isn't it? Ronnie sending his club. Hugh Hefner. I'm selling the family silver, the property of a gentleman. There are no more gentlemen, Dominic. We're living beyond our times.
And beyond our means.
You know, I'm still paying for the woman. And she's paying her nannies twice the going rate. Of course, this is because she's impossible to live with unless the help is bribed. By me. For a woman who said that nannies were a wedge between mother and child. And all her other expenses, and mine. 3 bloody overdrafts. And then there's Ladbrokes, who want 14,000. And there's nothing coming in, you know. Not a bean.
No luck.
Oh, luck. It's not luck, Dominic. It's dash. Action.
Now, look.
I mean, when they told you couldn't marry your heiress, what did you do? That's right, you eloped.
And then she left me.
Style and dash. Action. I must act. Can't you see?
I thought we'd been over that.
I'll not let my children see their father disgraced as a bankrupt.
So?
She has to go.
Who?
Veronica.
Well, she won't.
Well, she must be made to go, Dominic. If she were gone, I could go back to my children. There'd only be one house to run, and above all, I'd be happy and my luck would improve.
John, maybe your children would rather see you in court for bankruptcy than murder.
The nanny's out Thursday evening. She comes back late, the chain's left off the door, the locks haven't been checked. I still have the keys.
You cannot even think this. You're not a murderer, John.
No, I'm not.
So have another drink. And forget it.
Heavy on the vodka, old man. Light on the ice. Change the record, will you?
The law is a bloody fool. John, we both know that. People want to gamble. As it is, most of the clubs are run by gangsters.
Huh?
Oh, yes, people like Charlie Mitchell. They call him the Axeman. He has a way with amputations. Johnny Mackay, Reggie Cray. Quite a coming lad is Reggie.
Yes? Did you bring the children back on time, Sana?
Yeah, they're changing now.
How are they?
Oh, fine, I think. But, he wasn't looking so good. His shoes were dirty and his hair was a mess.
You don't really like him, do you?
He frightens me somehow. He's so overpowering.
Oh, that's silly. Actually, you're just his type.
Not really, Veronica.
Yes, you're small, you're bubbly and cheerful. I'm going to miss you.
Well, I don't think I'll be leaving for a while.
You looking for someone?
Maybe. I think we might have met before.
I'll meet a lot of people.
I heard you might be able to help me.
For the right amount up front.
Well, that'll all be taken care of, but I do need to be sure you can do the job.
What do you want, an exhibition? I'm a professional.
So am I?
Listen, do you want this done or not?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Hello, Luke and... Oh, James! Hi, I was just... Oh, no, nothing much. Oh, all right. No, that's no problem. I can... Sure, right. See you then. My boyfriend.
Oh, yeah, problems?
He can't make it tonight. Someone at the pub's gone sick, so he's on shift.
Oh, are you staying in?
Well, I've got a pile of ironing to do. And it's not much of a night out there.
Hello, Billy. Anyone in tonight?
None of the usual crowd, my lord.
Ah, Max.
My lord?
Look, I'm going to the theatre with some friends. I was wondering if you could hold a table for 11 o'clock.
Of course, my lord.
Splendid. For 4 of us?
We are here to serve you, my lord, as always.
Phil, I'm just going down to make some tea. Do you want some? Oh, yes. Yes, please, Sandra, that'd be nice. Won't be a second.
Oh, my God.
Sandra?
Damn you, Veronica.
Sandra? Are you down with us?
Veronica! Veronica! Veronica!
In The Lucan File, dramatised for radio by Mike Walker, based on the book by James Ruddick, Lord Lucan was played by Nathaniel Parker, Lady Lucan by Imogen Stubbs, Ronnie Roberts by Struan Roger, and Bill by Pip Torrens. Dominic Elwes was Julian Fellows, Christina Shand Kidd, Natasha Pine, Inspector Gehring, Derek Waring, P.C. Beddick, Peter Yapp, Mrs. Maxwell Scott, Kristen Millwood, Lucan's aunt, Mary Wimbush, Sergeant Baker, Michael Tudor Barnes, Christina at 15, Deborah Berlin, Kate Lucan, Margaret John, Sponge, David Antrobus, Sandra Rivet, Gilly Bond, and the woman in the club, Lucy Scott. The play was directed by Peter Kavanagh.
Oh, look, Diana. You see the trout leaping?
You should have brought your rod.
Oh, I can fish when I'm on my own.
I love the view from here, don't you? The river, the trees, the fields, stretching down to your farm. The church spire in the distance. It's all so tranquil. You'd never think there was a war going on.
Yes, we're very lucky.
And there's poor Michael. God knows where.
You still haven't heard from him?
No. Mind you, that doesn't mean a thing. He was always the world's worst correspondent. All those speeches and papers, but he could never write a letter to his wife. I'd better be getting back. Why don't you come and have supper with us?
Going to put Nanny out?
She's never put out by you. You're so easy. Not like Michael. He was always throwing her into a tizzy. I think she quite misses it now he's not here. You will come, won't you? After all, it's your eggs we'll be eating.
I'd love to. Thanks.
I do have an ulterior motive, too. I need your advice on some more beastly money matters.
Any time.
Oh, what would I do without you?
Mrs. Wentworth?
Hello, Nanny. I can't be that late for supper.
Oh, Mrs. Wentworth. Thank goodness. I've been looking everywhere.
What is it?
Sir Ernest Foster's here. He wants to see you urgently. Is it something to do with the gun? Oh, my God.
The Years Between by Daphne du Maurier. Adapted for radio by Jill Hyam. With Diana Quick as Diana, Roger Allam as Michael, David Collins as Richard, Frederick Treves as Ernest, and Peter England as Robin.
Ah, Mediterranean Sea.
Well, strain your eyes in that dark corner, Robin. Put away your book, there's a good boy. Do the blackout while I lay the tea.
It's too early yet. Nan?
Yes? Is the Mediterranean really as big as it looks on the map?
Well, you're the one at school. You should know better than me.
It looks enormous here. I'm sure an aeroplane wouldn't have much chance of being found once it was forced down.
Help me get the tea now. I've managed to get honey as a treat.
Come here, Sandy. You're not going indoors.
There's Uncle Richard. Hello, Uncle Richard.
Hello there. No, Sandy, not with all that running. Now, lie down. Lie. I said lie.
Lie. Good boy.
The magic touch. So, what have you been up to, young Robin?
I've had a cold.
Hello, Nanny.
Good evening, Mr. Llewellyn.
Nanny wouldn't let me go out, or I'd have come over to the farm. Have you come for tea?
If Nanny has any to spare.
Of course. Go and wash your hands, Robin.
Yes, Nanny.
And close the door. We don't want any drafts.
Mrs. Wentworth not back yet?
No, sir. She said she'd take the 3:10 and trust to getting a taxi at the station.
No news, I suppose.
No, sir.
Was she expecting to hear anything in London?
I don't know, sir. She said so little to me. Well, you know how she's been ever since she heard.
Yeah.
Sort of shut up in herself. I think how she's lived for the Colonel all these years. I'm sorry.
I know how you feel, Nanny. But you mustn't give way. The house would fall to pieces but for you.
It's the way it happened that made it seem so dreadful. The plane crashing and no trace found.
I know.
It's all been such a strain on her. And Robin's not himself.
I wish to heaven I could do more to help.
Oh, but you do, sir. Just knowing you're there means so much to Mrs. Wentworth. She was saying so the day she went to London.
Was she?
People know where they are with you.
Thank you, Nanny.
I must get you tea.
Nanny.
Yes, sir?
I want you to feel, if you're ever worried about Mrs. Wentworth or Robin, you can call on me.
Thank you, Mr. Llewellyn. The Colonel never spoke to me that way. Not all the time I've been with him. But then he is a gentleman of moods. Do you think there's any hope, sir?
Very little, I'm afraid. Really good scones, these.
Shall I pour you some more tea?
Yes, please.
There's a chap at our school called Dawson. His father was killed last year.
Tough luck. I say, it's getting a bit dark, isn't it? What about the blackout? You do that one, I'll do this.
Uncle Richard? I've decided not to go into the army after all.
Oh, why's that?
Well, I never wanted to, really. But Daddy was so keen being in the regiment that I felt I had to. Now I can do as I like.
Well, there's plenty of time to decide these things.
I don't suppose Mummy would mind. She only agreed with Daddy because she had to. There's heaps of things I'd like to do that I've never had a chance to up to now. Fishing, for instance.
I'll take you sometime if you like.
Would you? Perhaps you could teach me about farming too. I might decide to farm like you.
Delighted. Any time.
I'm glad your leg kept you out of the army.
Thank you.
She's back.
Hello, darling.
You're awfully late.
Oh, blame the railways. Is your cold a bit better?
It's gone completely. Only Nanny won't believe me.
Hello, Diana.
Richard, how lovely. I was hoping you'd come. Oh, dear, how I hate train journeys these days.
What did you do in London? Were there any bombs?
No.
Did you go to the house and hear any debates?
Not this time.
The postman is a great one for politics. He says nothing will ever be the same when the war's over, that everyone will have lost so much and gained so little.
I say, Robin, do me a favour. Take Sandy into the kitchen and give him a rub down. He's too filthy to bring in here.
All right. I'll feed him too. Sandy, come on, boy. There's a good boy. Come on.
I think the postman was right, don't you? Nothing will ever be the same again. But I wish you wouldn't put it in such a depressing way.
He's a depressing sort of chap.
I suppose we'll all get a little harder and more bitter as the war goes on. Already people have altered since last year. There's not that defiant gaiety there used to be when the bombs were falling every night. It's all become a drab routine.
Well, that tends to happen, you know. Danger is a great stimulus.
We shouldn't need a stimulus. We ought to feel that kind of inspiration all the time.
Diana, Did anything happen when you were in London?
Why do you ask?
When you went away last Friday, you seemed so lost and helpless. And for the past 3 months you've been like that. Ever since you got the telegram. But now, tonight, although I know you're dog-tired, there's a different look about you.
Here we are. Nice pot of tea. Oh, thank you, Nan.
Drink it while it's hot now.
Yes, I will. You're right, Richard. I feel different. I've made a decision. I'm going to stand for North Alsea in Michael's place. You look so shocked.
I'm sorry, but...
You don't think I'm capable of doing it?
No, it's not that.
Ernest Foster and the others are very keen. They say I'm practically certain to be returned unopposed. You remember Michael's fantastic majority.
I don't think you'll find any difficulty in being returned.
What then?
Are you sure Michael would have approved?
But of course. That's what decided me. It's for his sake I'd be doing it.
I know what he meant to you, Diana. What he'll always mean. I've lived here long enough to know you never thought about yourself, or even Robin very much, only of Michael. He was the centre of the world you created for him, and now that world has crashed. Do you really want to take his place? Isn't that something he might have misunderstood? Resented even?
You think I've suddenly become ambitious, I suppose. That I want some sort of reflected glory.
No, of course I...
Well, you're absolutely wrong, Richard. I've never had any kind of personal ambition. I never wanted to be anything more than a background for Michael, ever. Now, as for taking his place, that would be impossible. I wouldn't even try.
Then why?
So that he won't be forgotten. Oh, don't you see? This way I can follow his views, his ideals, as closely as possible. I've thought of nothing else all this week in London. It's not a sudden, reckless impulse or some kind of dope to stop me thinking. You don't believe me, do you? I can see it in your face.
It's not that.
Oh, answer it for me, would you?
Hello, the old manor? Yes, she's just come in. Who is it, please? Oh, hold on, I'll get her. It's Ernest Foster.
Oh, he said he'd ring to confirm things. Oh, Lord, what shall I say? Shall I ask for longer to think it over? Or say I've changed my mind? Or what? Tell me what to do, Richard.
I can't advise you, Diana. It's something you have to decide for yourself.
Good evening, Ernest. Yes, I have. I stand by everything we agreed upon yesterday. Thank you. Well, I suppose I could come up again after the weekend. Thank you very much. Good night. Well, that's that, then. I've done it.
Oh, Diana, my dear, you're so damn tired.
It was true what you said. I'm not doing this for Michael's sake. I'm doing it for myself.
No.
I am. You were right about Michael. He's been my whole life. These last few months have been hell. And then, up in London, I suddenly realized my life doesn't belong to him anymore. It's mine. I can do what I like with it. And, oh, Richard, I suddenly felt free. As if I was young again. Do you think you would understand?
I don't know.
You know what he was like. So alive. His personality was so strong. He seemed to put out the light in other people. You felt that, didn't you?
I know he thought I was a dull stick. Probably right.
No, not dull. Far from it. But Michael, in spite of his brilliance, had a funny sort of childishness about him at times. He needed so much love and understanding.
You were happy with him, weren't you?
Happy? I don't know. I've never thought. What I was feeling never seemed to matter. It was just Michael. his needs, his comforts. I was thinking just now when Nanny brought in the tea, how he would have hated our pigsty way of living. We still had staff when he went away, and now Nanny cooking and me making the beds. He'd have a fit.
You won't be able to make beds when you're an MP.
Oh, yes, I shall. And if I can't, I shall ring up the farm and ask you to leave your old pigs and do them for me. I'm going to need your help, Richard. Badly.
Are you?
You know, I've no head for business or anything like that. You'll have to look after all my money affairs while I make my speeches. And you'll have to help me write them, too. And if the hecklers throw dead cats, you'll have to rescue them.
What a prospect.
The post.
All right, Mummy, I'll go. Thank you. One for you. A printed one. Official paid. What does it say?
It's nothing. Just the telephone account.
I'll go and finish feeding Sandy then.
You will help me, won't you, Richard? I'm not sure I can do it on my own. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for granting me the privilege of representing you as the member for North Alsea. I promise you that I shall do my utmost to carry on the torch that my husband lit and to work as he did to make not only this constituency but the whole country a better place to live in.
Well done. You see, I told you you could do it.
Not without you. For our aim is to create a unified educational system that will cater for boys and girls of all ages and backgrounds. The very young will be looked after in nursery schools. The school leaving age would be raised to 15, and part-time education in county colleges would continue until the age of 18. But most importantly, the Act would pledge to introduce free secondary schools for all children from the age of 11. The future lies with our sons and daughters. What better investment can we make in their future?
Congratulations, my dear.
Thank you.
You're really making your mark. How proud Michael would be.
I won't keep you any longer, except to say thank you for coming along to the fete and for listening to me. And to those of you who have sons and husbands fighting, may you see them soon. I wish to all of them a safe and speedy return.
Oh, well done, Diana. That should do the trick.
Splendid. An excellent speech, Mrs. Wentworth.
Thank you, Vicar. I hope it was better than the one I made the first year.
When you called old General Bradshaw General Brandy.
Probably because you gave me a swig before I went on.
Well, you certainly got them moving again. I only wish there were more like you in Parliament. They might get a move on.
I couldn't agree more, Vicar.
She's a jolly good fellow.
Oh, you stop that now, Robin. I hope you'll all come back to the house for a drink later.
Oh, thank you, my dear.
Do you want me to nip back and get things organised?
Oh, Richard, would you be an angel? We'll have them on the terrace, shall we?
I can recommend this sherry here, Sir Ernest.
Yeah, sure can.
Pass the cigarette, Charles, would you, Robin?
You know, Diana preached a sermon for me last week. Church was packed, just like the cinema on a Saturday night.
Matins at 11, featuring Diana Wentworth.
The trouble is that she's gone and spoilt the form for me. No one will ever listen to a word I say again.
That's what the postman said to Nanny.
Good heavens, look at the time. I really must go. I have a choir practice in exactly 10 minutes. Oh, thank you so much, Diana.
Let me see you out.
I bet the trout are rising.
Are you a fisherman, young man?
Rather.
Richard taught him. He's become an enthusiast.
May I run down now?
try my luck.
All right, darling. I'm sure Sir Ernest will excuse you.
Of course.
Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye. They grow up so fast, don't they?
Terrible. 12 last month.
So, no more meetings for a month, eh?
If you're sure you can manage without me.
We can't, but we shall have to. Richard is a lucky man. What exactly are the plans?
We're going to get married very quietly in London, and then just have a fortnight in Scotland. Richard can't leave the farm any longer, and I must be back for the conference.
Well, my very best wishes to you both for the future. I'm sure you'll be very happy.
So am I.
And how does young Robin feel about it?
We haven't told him yet. No one knows but you and Nanny. But there'll be no problem there. He adores Richard.
I'll get it, Diana.
No escape for the famous. Will Mrs. Wentworth open the new hostel for paralytic parsons next week?
No, she will not.
Will Sir Ernest take a personal call?
Can't she leave you in peace for a day?
I told the floozy not to ring me in business hours.
It's a man, actually.
Take it on the study extension, if you like, Ernest, so no one will hear your guilty secrets.
If every cabinet minister led as blameless a life as I do.
The gossip columnists would have nothing to write about.
Tired?
Bit.
Stay awake a moment longer. There's something for you. It's a pre-wedding present.
Oh, Ricky.
Now, close your eyes and I'll put it on. There.
It's beautiful. Where did you find it?
Oh, just a little shop.
Thank you, darling. Why do you spoil me so?
You know perfectly well why.
Oh, it'll be so lovely in Scotland. Just the two of us. But I give you warning. None of your 5-mile walks before breakfast.
You shall have your breakfast in bed every morning.
Uncle Richard!
Oh, he went down to the river.
What's the matter?
I hooked a whopper. Come and see.
You better go.
Why did I teach that boy to fish? Coming!
Hello, Ernest. Has something happened?
Yes. They've been trying to get us for hours. The telephone must have been ringing while we bought the freight. I think you should have another drink, Diana.
Oh, it can't be that serious.
I'm afraid it is. Here,
What is it?
drink that.
For God's sake, tell me.
I don't know how to.
Is there a government crisis?
It's not a political crisis. It's a personal one. I'm afraid you and Richard won't be able to go away.
Does it urge
Now
you?
listen to me, my dear. That was my brother John on the telephone. He's the one who was in command of the destroyer Valiant. He was speaking from Portsmouth. They docked there 5 hours ago.
I still don't see what...
They have with them on board someone who wants to see you. Someone who was picked up by John's ship from an isolated spot near the German coast, and who, for the last 3 years, has been making his way through occupied countries, while the world believed he was dead.
Michael.
Yes. John says he wasn't hurt. Not injured in any way, though God knows what he's been through. He's just completely exhausted. The only thing he craved was sleep. He was still asleep when they docked at Portsmouth. And as soon as he woke, he asked for you.
Michael.
John has got him ashore now with the C&C at Portsmouth. He wants us to motor down there tonight.
Oh, Ernest.
My dear, I wish I knew what to say to you. You know, I'm a very old friend of you both. The thing to cling to is that Michael is alive and well.
Yes.
I expect you'd rather be alone for a while.
Please.
Well, take your time. No need for us to start for an hour or two.
That is amazing, Rob.
Oh, my God.
Would you rather I told him?
No. No.
I'll go and make the arrangements then.
I don't believe it. It's a champion.
How much do you think it weighs?
Oh, it's 3 pounds at least.
Here's Mummy. Come and see what I've caught.
Blow me, the young blight has landed the biggest fish. What's happened?
I need to talk to you, Richard.
What's the matter, Mummy?
Go along, Robin. Leave us alone.
But...
Do as I tell you. What is it?
It's Michael. He's alive. He's come back.
What?
They found him somewhere near the German coast. He's not wounded or anything. He's come right through Europe from... I don't know. I couldn't take it in.
Yeah.
They want me to go down to Portsmouth with Ernest tonight.
Yes, of course.
He'll come back, expecting to find everything the same. He'll want his home again. All the things he loved.
Yes.
He mustn't be worried about anything. He'll need peace and quiet. We must keep it from him about you and us. He must find everything unchanged, mustn't he?
You think that's for the best?
I can't go through it alone. You'll help me, won't you? Please, Ricky. Please.
You know I will.
You'll have to be at the farm, of course, for the time being, until we can make plans. He'll expect to find you here about the place. It'll seem quite natural that you've been helping me. I can explain how wonderful you've been over business matters and everything, and how you've helped Robin. Robin. Someone's got to tell him. The Colonel? Alive? Oh, madam.
Mrs. Wentworth is going down to Portsmouth with Sir Ernest this evening. He's talking to his chauffeur now. We understand the Colonel's quite all right, just very tired. He's had a terrible time.
Yes, sir. Nanny, I think you're the best person to tell Robin. I simply don't know how to do it.
I'll do my best.
You must make him understand that Mr. Llewellyn and I... that there's no question now.
Mrs. Wentworth is anxious, Nanny, that the Colonel should come home to find nothing changed.
Yes, sir. I understand.
I think Robin's old enough to realise what's happened. I'll try and talk to him myself.
Oh, Richard.
There'll be a lot to do. There'll be the Colonel's room to get ready, and he'll expect everything as it used to be.
Oh, Mr. Llewellyn. Madam, I'll do everything I can do to help. Would you answer it, Nanny? Say, I can't take any calls tonight.
Yes, madam.
Thank you. Hello? Hello? Who is it? I can't hear you.
It's a trunk call, madam.
Hello? Yes, it is. One moment, sir. It's him. The Colonel.
I'd better leave.
Richard!
Good night.
Hello? Michael? Oh, Michael. Darling.
He's coming home this evening.
Yes, I know. Your mother telephoned.
It was on the wireless, about him escaping through all those enemy territories. Did you hear?
Yes. He's a real hero, your father. You must be very proud of him.
Yes.
I imagine how impressed the boys at school will be.
Uncle Richard,
Yes?
I wish...
I know, Elsa.
I don't want things to change.
They're bound to, Robbie.
Will you still come and see us?
Your father will want to be alone with Mummy to begin with.
But you and she will still be friends, won't you?
Of course, but that'll be different. She won't need me so much now. It's not going to be easy for any of us. Your father's going to have a lot to adjust to as well. But we must try to help each other through.
Can I still go fishing with you?
Is everything all right? Where's Robin? I think he's over at the farm. We left the Colonel at the gate. He wanted to walk up through the woods, though I tried to persuade him not to. The doctor wanted him to stay longer, but he insisted on coming home at once. That's only natural, isn't it?
Oh, Nan, he looks so strained and tired. I brought down some extra groceries and I managed to get some wine.
I tried to get the room right, but somehow...
Oh, that is good of you. He hasn't asked any questions about his home, us, anything at all. And he's told me nothing about himself. The doctor said he was suffering terribly from reaction. More than anything, he must have peace and quiet.
He won't be worried from the village. I've seen to that. And I believe the vicar said a word in church yesterday. Mr. Llewellyn was here earlier. He said if there was anything you wanted him for, anything special, he'd come over, but he wouldn't be coming otherwise.
He didn't leave a letter?
No, Mum. Oh, these came this morning. A poor postman could hardly walk up the drive. They're mostly for you, but there's a few for the Colonel.
Messages of congratulation, I suppose. They'll all have to be answered, too.
You'll have to get Miss Jameson down from London to do that.
Miss Jameson? Oh, I'd forgotten for the moment I had such a thing as a secretary.
Does the Colonel know about you being a member of...
No, not yet.
Oh, excuse me, madam. Is this box to go in the kitchen?
Oh, yes, please. Nanny, this is Benning, the Colonel's new servant. He joined us today.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We should be able to manage all right, then. I have Mrs. Willis coming in every morning, and she's promised to come in during the evening for an hour to help with the washing up. I just suppose she will.
I dare say Benning will help with that, too.
Oh, well, yes, madam.
Well, come along, then. Nanny will show you to your room, and then we can open the groceries and the wine.
If you'd like to follow me...
Home, sweet home.
Welcome back, darling. All right. Not too tired.
Where's the old cabinet?
What? Oh, and we had it moved out of the way upstairs. It seemed to take up so much space.
Altered the room somehow. Odd. And the table has been shifted too, hasn't it?
I don't think so.
I used to imagine this when I was out there. All seemed so clear and distinct. There were always roses in a white bowl.
There's the bowl.
But alas, no roses.
I'm afraid I've had to let the garden go. Thompson was called up. I'll have the old cabinet moved down in the morning.
Good.
And now I come to think of it, that table isn't right. We used to have the flap up.
No, don't bother. It doesn't matter.
Oh, you've overdone it, walking up like that. Put your feet up and relax a little.
Oh.
Would you like your dinner in bed tonight?
God, no, I'm not a blasted invalid.
The doctor said you needed all the rest you could get.
Doctors are a bunch of fools and hypocrites. All I need is this. Where's Benning?
Unpacking your things. Do you want him?
I thought he might open that case of drink.
Oh, Nanny and I can do that.
Nanny?
Lord, I was forgetting her.
She's been absolutely splendid. Turns a hand to everything.
I don't understand this servant business. Why can't you pay them more?
It's not a question of money, darling. They've all been called up.
Well, Venning will do the dirty work. Venning?
Venning is upstairs. Can I do anything?
Nanny.
Welcome home, sir.
Return of the soldier. And all the trumpets had sounded for him on the other side. How are you, Nanny?
Very well, thank you, sir. He hasn't changed much, has he, madam? A little thinner, perhaps, but otherwise just the same.
Yes, just the same.
Only rather more difficult than before. You can't be a fugitive for 3 years and get away with it entirely.
No, sir.
Half-starved I was most of the time. Practically naked.
Oh, Michael.
Now, why, I'm not going to force my lurid tales upon you. I'll save them for the House of Commons. As Colonel Wentworth walked into the Strangers' Gallery, cheers echoed from end to end of the historic building. Or didn't they?
All right, Nanny, would you go and open that box of wine in the kitchen?
Yes, madam.
Poor Nanny. She's never been at ease with me since I told her that Robin was the worst-mannered child in the country.
She's very devoted to all of us.
Fidelity is always touching. That's a hell of a lot of correspondence you've got there. What's it all in aid of? The conquering hero?
I expect so.
You're turning them over like one of those grim committee women who run things with such dire efficiency.
Perhaps I do.
You'll have to drop it then, now I'm home. Stop fidgeting, Diana. Come and sit down.
Oh, later. I must just go and give a hand with that crate first.
Venning can do that. What's the damn fellow for?
Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run.
What are you doing with my rod?
I'm sorry. I didn't know you were back.
Never mind the rod. Come here, let's have a look at you. My God, you look so different. You were a little chap in shorts when I went away.
I'm 12.
You still take that teddy bear to bed with you?
Good Lord, no. Nan gave it to an evacuee ages ago. I hope you're quite well.
That's uncommonly considerate of you. I might be worse. And what of yourself?
I'm fine, thank you. The war news is good, isn't it? We're bombing the Germans to blazes.
Are we? Tell me, what's happened to the old iron gates at the entrance to the woods?
Oh, Mummy gave them for salvage.
Salvage?
Don't you know? Iron railings were melted down everywhere and turned into bombs. Mummy made a speech about it the other day.
She did what?
Oh, nothing.
Does Mummy often make speeches?
Yes, no. Sometimes. I expect you saw a lot of men killed where you've been, didn't you?
I saw a hell of a lot who'd have been happier killed. But tell me more about the iron gates. That's much more important.
I don't really know anymore. I think I'll go and see what Mummy's doing.
Mummy went to see what Nanny was doing.
I expect they're seeing about supper. It's made a bit of extra work, you see. You're coming home.
I'm sorry. Oh, careful.
Sorry.
Where shall I put the drinks, sir? Oh, stick 'em anywhere. Move that junk off the table. Have you come across an old brown velvet jacket hanging in the wardrobe upstairs, on the left as you go into the room?
There's nothing hanging in any of the wardrobes, sir.
No, I suppose there wouldn't be.
Shall I pour you one, sir?
Yes. Thanks. And can you pass me those letters on the side?
Will there be anything else, sir?
You might ask Nanny if all my clothes were given away.
Yes, sir.
Let's see now. Colonel Wentworth, Mrs. Wentworth, MP. Mrs. Wentworth, MP. Diana? Diana!
I'm sorry about your brown jacket. Denning just asked me. You see, there were all these bombed people, and we
Never mind the jacket.
What is it?
Is this true? Mrs. Wentworth MP?
Yes.
My God, how damn funny! And how long have you been one of His Majesty's faithful commons?
Ever since you went. It was for your sake I did it. And they pressed me, Lord Gresham and Ernest Foster and the others.
What was your majority?
I was unopposed.
Sob stuff, I suppose, widows' weeds and so on.
Perhaps.
My husband gave his life for his country, and for those of you who hold his memory dear...
Please, Michael.
Well, isn't that the line you took? It never fails.
You're angry.
Why should I be angry? It's the funniest thing I've heard in ages. I told you when you were sorting through those letters that you look like a woman who sits on committees. What a shot in the dark.
Michael, darling, of course it's a surprise to you. It was to me. I never thought for a moment I was capable of carrying out the work I do today.
What else have you achieved besides giving away my gates for salvage?
The gates? Oh, the salvage drive is just a local thing. No, I mean work in the house. We got the education bill passed. I was on the committee and they used one or two of my suggestions.
My, oh, my.
It will have a tremendous effect on the schools. They're considering a form of national service, too.
Are they indeed?
And we're hoping to get the housing bill through during the next session. Oh, Michael, the things I've learnt. The living conditions we've allowed to exist all these years. And yet we call it a civilized country.
So it is. Damn civilized compared to the countries I've come from.
Yes, but that's different.
Is it? Go on. Tell me more about your housing bill.
I have the report somewhere. You shall read it after supper. There won't be a single house after the war, or a flat, or a tiny cottage without a bathroom. And that's just one small step.
Supposing people don't want baths.
Oh, they won't get away with it. Inspectors will go round to make sure the baths are used. You think it's a waste of time, I suppose.
Not if it keeps you happy in your monkey house. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. Just that I've been living all these months in such a different world.
I know. I do understand.
No, you don't. I told you just now that when I was out there, I used to imagine this house, this room. I saw nothing changed. And I'm not the only one. All those ordinary chaps, they want to come back to the life they knew. Pint of beer in the pub, pictures on a Saturday night, the woman they love. They don't want to come home to conscription bills and compulsory baths.
Oh, I've described it all so badly.
No, too well.
But, Michael, you wouldn't have us put the clock back and return to where we were before.
Why not?
I thought we were fighting for a new world.
Was the old one so bad?
Well, I don't know. But I think we all feel rather differently about it here at home.
Safe in an English churchyard snore the businessmen who won the war, while by the foreign seas they crossed it, happens lie the men who lost it.
Oh, Michael, I wanted your homecoming to be so peaceful. And now I've spoilt it for you.
Now I'm to blame. I might have known the picture couldn't quite come true. The iron gate's gone, and the roses, and Robin, a schoolboy in long trousers. Let's forget all about it, shall we?
Will you also forget that I'm a member of Parliament?
You enjoy it, don't you?
Yes. Yes, I do.
What is it, Benning?
The nurse wishes to know about the time for dinner, madam.
Tell her we'll be ready in half an hour.
I never used to eat this early.
In those days, Nanny didn't have to act as cook as well as everything else. It suits us better this way.
I'm surprised Nanny and Venning don't have to eat with us in this brave new world of yours.
Of course not.
Thank God for that. All I want is to be alone with you.
Yes, darling. You won't mind Robin, though. He eats supper with me as a rule.
So long as he goes to bed directly afterwards. I'd say this chicken's good.
It came from the farm.
Old Richard's still in charge there?
Yes.
How is he?
Very well.
Not married or anything?
No.
I'm surprised. I'd have thought one of those buxom land girls would have snapped him up by now.
Well, they haven't.
What does Richard think about you gadding round the country as a member of Parliament?
I think he's used to it, like everyone else.
Except me.
What would you like to do after dinner?
I'd like us to sit in the library together and listen to a bit of music. The way we used to. Where's that tapestry work you used to do?
I gave that up a long time ago.
It was so restful.
Yes, but it wasn't any use to anyone. This is a balaclava helmet. I have a working party in the village, and everything goes up to a central depot.
Truth. What do you think about when you're knitting the committee stage of the housing bill?
No. No, I was just thinking how strange it is. You and I sitting here together, just like old times. Almost as though nothing had ever happened.
Has anything happened?
No. Of course not. Only the war.
Hello, boy. No, stop that. You'll knock me over.
Hello, Robin. Just in time to help me muck out the pigs.
Terrific. I've got a note for you from Mummy. Here.
Thank you.
And she says, why haven't you been to visit us?
I've been pretty busy. I went down to Wales for a few days last week.
Was that instead of Scotland?
In a way.
It was a pity you couldn't go.
Couldn't be helped. How is Mummy?
All right.
I hope she isn't overdoing it. She must have quite a bit on her plate one way or another.
Yes.
And your father, is he getting used to being home again?
I don't think he's frightfully keen on Mummy being an MP.
Yeah, it must have come as a bit of a shock.
Yes. Uncle Richard.
Hmm?
Dad wants me to go fishing with him. You don't mind, do you?
Of course not, Robin. He's your father.
I am most grateful for your message of congratulation on my husband's miraculous return. I am, at present, rather uncertain of my movements, and under the circumstances, I feel it best to refuse your kind invitation to speak at the annual meeting of the British Women's Council. Yours sincerely, etc. Was there anything else?
Miss Gower asked you down on Wednesday week, if you remember, for an inspection. I left it open because I thought you might be especially interested.
I am.
But I don't see how I can manage it.
Diana, look, it's too bad. These books are absolutely green with mildew.
Are they?
Yes, my first editions, too. And where the devil do you think I found them? In an old box in the garage beside a lot of junk.
Oh, darling, I'm terribly sorry. I'll go through all of them later. But I must get through these letters first.
You say that every morning, and yesterday you went through till lunchtime and then dashed off to some totally unnecessary meeting in the afternoon.
It wasn't unnecessary, Michael. It was very important.
A lot of women yattering about nothing at all.
Your wife is a very busy person, Colonel Wentworth.
You've said it, Miss Jameson. So damn busy she hasn't time to look after her home or her husband. Oh, go ahead, both of you. Don't mind me. I won't interrupt your affairs of state.
Where were we, Miss Jameson?
About that letter to Miss Gower.
Oh, perhaps I should ring her personally.
Then there's only the message you promised to send to the big GTC rally at Westminster. You remember we started it, and then we were interrupted.
Oh, yes. Let's see. Nothing will matter to you any more now but your duty to your country. Just as you once played for the side in hockey or lacrosse and thought only of your school team, so now you will put aside all thought of personal selfishness and become one small unit in the great army of women that is helping in so large a measure to win this war. The girls of today are the women and mothers of tomorrow. Much of the responsibility of today will rest upon your shoulders. We none of us want to return to the slack, go-as-you-please Britain that existed before the war. But side by side with our menfolk... Michael, please, it's impossible to concentrate. Will you repeat that, Miss Jameson?
Side by side with our menfolk.
We shall build a saner, stronger Britain, where slackness and inefficiency will not be tolerated, where everyone will work for the community, and our children will be brought up to service, duty, and obedience to the state.
Christ, what an outlook. Who do you say is going to listen to that tripe?
The Westminster Division of the Girls' Training Corps.
You mean to tell me that old Gresham and Ernest Foster and the rest talk that language too?
What's wrong with it?
Before I left this country, I remember making a speech in the House about freedom. The right for every man to think for himself, choose for himself, and do as he bloody well pleased. I understood that was what we were fighting for.
So it is?
You could have fooled me.
I think, Miss Jameson, we'd better leave this until tomorrow.
I've spoilt your train of thought.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, but it does. Those girls are the women and mothers of tomorrow. You mustn't keep them waiting.
Goodbye, Mrs. Wentworth.
How many words per minute, Miss Jameson?
65.
Admirable efficiency. Well, what about your duty to your husband and cleaning some of this mildew off his books?
I'm afraid they're spoiled. I'm very sorry.
Seeing you're so hot on service and efficiency, it's a pity you don't exercise it more in your own home. Who left them to moulder in the garage?
I did. I put them there for salvage. The first editions must have got mixed up with the other books. We have this salvage drive, and the village promised to donate 500 books.
My dear girl, do you honestly believe that if all the books in the house were boiled down to a pulp, they would help the war effort in the slightest?
Michael, what's happened to you?
Nothing. Why?
You've changed so. 3 years ago, you had so much enthusiasm and drive. You believed in this war as a crusade against evil. And now that it's nearly over, you make a mockery of everything.
You say I've changed. What about you? 3 years ago, you were quiet and gentle. You had that wonderful quality of stillness that was the thing I loved most about you. And I come home to find a managing, restless woman who's always going to meetings or having interminable conversations on the telephone.
I can't
And don't
help it
pretend it's just patriotism. It's become your life. You are that sort of woman.
It's not true.
Oh, yes, it is. The woman I married died with me when I crashed into the sea in 1942.
I've tried very hard to be the woman you remembered.
God, don't tell me. I've seen you forcing yourself to play a part you'd forgotten. Not only you, but Robin, Nanny, the house itself, plunging back into a past that none of you wanted.
Oh, Michael.
I'm not blaming you or anyone. The dead should not return.
You mustn't say that. We were happy once.
Well, we're not happy now, are we? Not your fault, not mine. The years between. For you, no doubt.
Hello? Oh, hello, Ernest. Yes, he's here with me now. He's very much better, quite himself again. Whenever you like. It's Ernest. He wants to come down and see you today.
Tell him to go to hell.
He'll be delighted to see you. There must be heaps of things you want to discuss. And I want to see you. The news is wonderful, isn't it? I can't believe it's really true. No. No, we haven't talked about it much. No, as far as I'm concerned, there's only one thing to be done. I must stand down for Michael. Oh, but surely there's no question about it. All right. Well, why not come right away, have lunch with her? Well, after lunch, then. Fine, we'll see you later. Bye, Ernest.
What exactly were you saying to him?
What I feel is right. You must go back to the Commons where you belong. And I shall return to the home I seem to have neglected.
When did you first think about this?
Directly you came back. No, I'm lying. Before I went to Portsmouth. That first evening when Ernest told me you were safe.
This Parliament stuff means a lot to you, doesn't it?
Yes. At least I thought it did. Now, I'm not so sure.
I've made you doubtful, haven't I? Here I am like an evil ghost breaking your new world to pieces.
Oh, I don't want a new world. I only want the people who live in it to be happy.
With compulsory baths, compulsory babies.
You deliberately misunderstand everything I try to tell you.
Perhaps I do. Perhaps because I want you still and quiet like you were before. I want it to be winter and the curtains drawn with you there on the sofa doing some tapestry and Robin asleep upstairs with his teddy bear. The old world for which I fought and did not die.
I failed you. When you needed me most.
Would you really stand down for me? Chuck politics aside and be the one I knew?
If it would only make you happy.
Yes. But would it make you happy, too? Look who's come to visit me at last. Richard Coeur de Lion. Greetings.
Michael, it's good to see you in one piece. Hello, Diana.
Why the devil haven't you been to see me before?
I've been pretty busy, I'm afraid. The fact is, Robin was over at the farm and he fell into the stream. I ran him a bath and wrapped him up, and I came over for a change of clothes. I couldn't find Nanny in the kitchen.
Your elaborate excuses are entirely unnecessary. Have a glass of beer.
Is Robin quite all right?
Oh, yes. He got soaked through, that's all. It wasn't deep.
I'll go and see about some clothes for him. Excuse me.
3 weeks I've been back and not a sign of you.
I didn't think you would want outsiders butting in on your first few weeks at home.
You're one of the family. To Robin, at any rate. He seems to spend all his time at the farm.
Oh, thanks.
Cheers.
Yes.
Diana tells me you've given her a hand with money matters and helped her in 100 ways. I'm very grateful.
Least I could do.
I suppose the war hasn't touched you at all.
Only indirectly. Do you really think it's all but over?
Question of hours, I'd say. We'll be caught napping, of course, as unready for peace as we were for war, and it's going to take the devil of a time to clear up the mess.
And I suppose you'll know more about that part of it than anyone over here. Our people will listen to you, won't they?
The soldiers have done so already. I don't give a damn about the politicians. Take a few.
You know, what impressed me enormously was the work of the underground movements. Did you come across many of them? The resistance chaps, I mean.
Only lived with them day and night for the best part of 3 years.
Oh, it must have been pretty difficult evading capture.
No, not so bad once things got organised and I could get my reports through to this country.
Reports?
Every day by wireless. From my somewhat mobile HQ.
You talk as though you were on some official job.
I was.
I don't follow.
Somebody had to do the spade work, hadn't they? Somebody who knew the countries, spoke the languages, someone who was supposed to have gone to glory when his plane crashed in the Mediterranean.
What do you mean? It was all planned? The crash, everything?
Yes. Meticulously.
And you did it deliberately, knowing that Diana would believe you dead?
There was no choice. One weak link and the scheme would have failed.
I suppose you're the most courageous man I've ever known.
Not courageous. Just filled with a sublime conceit.
Does Diana know?
Not yet.
I don't think I should tell her if I were you.
You think a woman wouldn't understand?
She might find it difficult. I mean, all those months of anguish.
I don't know why I told you. A sudden impulse. We've never known each other very well, have we?
No.
Well, here's to our closer friendship.
I'm afraid that's not very likely.
What do you mean?
I'm leaving the farm in a few days.
For good?
Yes. Yes, I've taken a small holding in Wales.
What on earth for?
I was brought up there. I've always loved the place. And if this war is really ending, there'll be plenty of work for me to do there.
I say, Richard, I am sorry. Diana and Robin will miss you so much.
I don't think so. Not now they've got you home again. You took an awful risk, didn't you, when you crashed into the sea?
Yes. Sometimes, out there, I wondered what I should feel like if I came home and found that Diana had married again. God, it was one of my worst nightmares. Instead of which, I returned to find her a blasted politician. Have some more beer?
No, thank you. I must get back to the farm.
Here's a sweater and a pair of shorts. So untidy, things all over the place.
Have you heard, Diana? Richard's going to leave us.
Leave us? What do you mean?
Going back to the land of his fathers, taking a farm in Wales.
Richard, that's a very sudden decision, isn't it?
Not so very sudden.
When do you propose to go?
In a few days. War will be over any time now. I'd like to be in Wales when the aftermath begins. Help straighten the muddle.
The aftermath. That goes for all of us, I suppose. It will take us the rest of our lives to straighten out the muddle this war has made.
Who's being bitter now? Why don't you stay to lunch?
Robin will be waiting for his clothes.
Venning can take them across to the farm. Tell him he must stay, Diana.
Yes, why not? If we're not going to see much of you in the future.
Talking of which, let's find out what the latest news is.
Yesterday, at 2:41, Grand Admiral Dönitz, designated head of the German state, signed an act of unconditional surrender of all German land, sea, and air forces in Europe. Hostilities will end officially at 1 minute after midnight tonight. His Majesty the King will broadcast to the nation and the world this evening at 9 o'clock.
Peace finds us somewhat ill-prepared.
Afternoon, Benning.
Oh, Sir Ernest.
I'm rather early. I expect the Colonel is still having lunch.
They're just finishing, sir. May I take your coat?
Oh, thank you.
Wonderful news, isn't it, sir? All over at last.
Yes, indeed. Now the real work begins.
That's true.
How do you find the Colonel, Benning?
Oh, up and down, sir. He has his bad days. Still, he'll be able to put all that behind him now.
Tell them I'm here, would you? I won't disturb them. I'll wait in the library.
Yes, sir.
My dear Ernest, why the Gestapo entrance? Come along and have some cheese and coffee.
Cheese and coffee be damned. Don't you know the war's over?
I had heard.
Besides, I want to talk to you before seeing Diana.
I'd better shut the door, then.
You're looking better? More like your old self again?
Perhaps to you, not to others.
The war has been a strain enough for all of us. But for you, it must have been intolerable.
On the contrary, responsibility sat very lightly on my shoulders.
Michael, I was only told the whole story of what you did a couple of days ago. At first, I could hardly believe it.
I'm not surprised. It was a crazy thing to do.
Perhaps. But your work has helped us to achieve victory 6 months earlier than we expected.
And now it's only a question of putting out the flags.
But for those who really know, the work has only just begun.
Well, what is it you wanted to see me about? The reward for my labours? Are you about to hand it to me on a silver salver?
You know perfectly well why I've come.
Yes, damn you. It's no use, Ernest. I'm not going back again. It's someone else's turn.
But you know what's needed in Europe, Michael. Better than anyone over here. You spent 3 years living close to the people, looking at the world with their eyes.
Yes. 3 years they can't give me back.
You're not the man to shrug your shoulders and leave them alone now the fighting's over.
Aren't I? That's where you're wrong. I've lost 3 years because of the people of Europe. 3 years and a lot more besides. Now I'm going to make up for the time I've lost. I want to get to know my wife and son all over again. I want to rebuild my own home, and to hell with other people.
Of course, if you feel as strongly as that, there's no more to be said. God knows, after what you've been through, you have a right to put your family first. 3 years was a long time to lie dead.
Isn't that just what I've been trying to tell you?
Ernest, why didn't you come into the dining room? What are you two discussing so secretly?
A matter of national importance, which has been badly received.
You sound very solemn. Do I come into it?
My beloved wife, Ernest, feels the safe seat of North Alsea rocking from under her. I must admit her political position is unique. Who do you think is the legal member for North Alsea?
Hello, Sir Ernest.
Colonel Wentworth, believed by the constituents to be lying peacefully under foreign waters, or the charming and conscientious wife who succeeded him? What's your opinion, Richard, as one completely unbiased?
Surely that's a matter for you and Diana to discuss together.
What a model of discretion. No taking sides. What an agreeable companion you must be.
Won't you have some coffee, Ernest?
He's already been asked. Ernest, why don't we continue our unprofitable conversation in the garden?
I shall see you later, Diana.
Yes, of course.
Well, thank you for lunch. I must be getting back to the farm.
Can I come with you?
Robin, I want to talk to Uncle Richard. Would you mind leaving us alone for a little while?
Yes, all right, Mum.
Do you grudge even 5 minutes alone with me?
Diana.
You hadn't been near me once, not once in the past month. And when I stoop to sending you messages by Robin, you don't even answer them.
I'm sorry.
And now you're going away.
What else can I do?
Don't you love me anymore?
Love you? Christ. Do you know what it's been like for me these days and nights?
Oh, Ricky.
Dad, can we go fishing tomorrow?
Yes, bring your own rod.
You see, that's why I have to go away. Don't let's pretend to one another. Do you want me to visit you when Michael's not there, to meet you secretly in the woods? Do you want me to be that sort of man?
I don't know. I can't go on like this any longer.
Oh, my love.
I've tried so hard to be the same for him, the one he wants, the one he used to know.
But it's no use. I'm not that woman anymore.
But he loves you. Even so.
I'm not even sure of that. He's so different. So bitter and strange. Oh, I know he's been through hell, and I shouldn't criticize, but none of our interests are the same. None of our thoughts. We're just not in tune anymore.
Well, what are we going to do? Are you thinking of telling him about everything?
I don't know.
Would you really do that? Come away with me to Wales.
If only.
Shall I tell you what would happen if you did? We'd find a little happiness together for a time. We'd build a cottage in the wilds and think only of ourselves. And then, gradually, his shadow would come between us. And there'd be no peace anymore. Only doubt and guilt. I'm right, aren't I?
And if I stay with him and you are alone, do you think that will give me peace of mind?
I don't know. But he is your husband. And you have Robin. And that'll always be a bond between you.
We were going to be so happy, you and I.
Yes.
It's the little things I miss so much. You going through my speeches with me. Correcting my grammar. You doing my income tax.
Our funny suppers on a tray.
Other people snatch happiness and find a middle way. It wouldn't be so difficult for us.
We are not other people. We're neither of us any good at deception. I love you too much to snatch at happiness. That's why I'm going away.
Richard, this may be the last time we're alone together. Will you kiss me?
Mm. You do know how much I love you.
Yes.
I'll go out the back way. Goodbye.
Is anything the matter?
Oh, Michael, I didn't see you. No, why should there be?
You look a bit pale. Where's Richard?
He's gone.
Elusive fellow. I was just telling Ernest here about your stirring message to the girls' training corps.
I wish you'd keep your mockery to yourself.
Here we are, Ernest. The efficient Miss Jameson has left her a carbon copy, the climax of the speech about the stronger, saner Britain.
Please, Michael, don't...
Our children shall be brought up to service, duty, and obedience to the state.
Damn good thing, too.
Thank you, Ernest.
Oh, yes. The girls of the GTC will come away bursting with enthusiasm. But does Diana really mean it? Are any of us here prepared to sacrifice ourselves to service, duty, and obedience?
Sometimes there is no alternative.
Rubbish. There is always an alternative. We can throw our cap over the mills and say, to hell with this. Isn't that so, Diana?
I don't know.
Wouldn't you like to try? Just as an experiment?
For months I've been trying to persuade Diana to run away with me, but alas, she will insist that members of Parliament don't do these things.
But I don't intend to be a member of Parliament much longer, as I've already told you. Now Michael is home, I've no right to the seat at all. There'll be a general election in a few weeks anyway.
You know, Ernest, her face alone is good for a couple of thousand votes.
No, Michael, I'm serious about this. Ernest, you believe me?
Of course I do. But I assure you the people of North Alsea would far rather be looked after by you than this madman. Anyway, he tells me he's going to forsake public life and take his ease. He turned down my proposal before I even made it.
And what was your proposal?
Ernest and his fellow conspirators want me out of the way again. He's come down to offer me a job, which I declined to take.
What kind of job?
A kind of benefactor come policeman.
Won't you tell me the truth, Ernest? He's talked in riddles ever since he came back. I know nothing of his life these past 3 years except what I've read in the newspapers. He doesn't want to tell me about it.
Too many ghosts looking over my shoulder.
Perhaps Michael wants to spare you the history of his 3 years, Diana, just as you might want to spare him yours. Anyway, you can take from me that your husband is one of the bravest men alive.
Oh, no, he's not. He's an almighty coward. He's so afraid of being hurt that he would like to walk the world blindfold with his fingers in his ears.
Michael!
Hello? I'm back!
There's the poor devil I'm sorry for. He's the one who'll have to pay for all the mistakes we make.
Hello, darling.
Come on in, Robin. Ever drunk champagne?
I don't think so.
Well, we're going to drink it now. Benning?
Champagne at 3 in the afternoon.
What better way to bring in the peace?
Yes, sir?
Venning, I found a bottle of champagne in the cellar and stuck it in the study. Bring it, and glasses too, for us and for yourself and Nanny.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. We're going to drink to the future, Robin, and rejoice that your father is with us again. Your mother is going to be the first woman Prime Minister.
Oh, Ernest.
Where's Uncle Richard?
He went back to the farm.
He ought to have been here. To drink to the future, too.
Is this right, sir? Bollinger 28.
Couldn't be more right. Come in, Nanny. I know you're teetotal, but I want you both to join us in a glass of champagne in honour of the occasion.
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful sound.
Isn't this the stuff people drink at weddings?
Yes, that's right.
And occasionally at funerals of the better sort, when the deceased is safe beneath the ground. Has everyone got a glass?
Yes.
Well then, to your brave new world, Diana.
What a beautiful evening. A fitting one for peace.
The birds think so too. More coffee, Ernest?
No, thank you. You mustn't let me forget the time. I've got to drive back to London before dark.
Can't you stay and hear the church bells? They're all going to ring again tonight, before the 9 o'clock news. Ours are going to ring in the village here, aren't they, Mummy? Not like on Sundays.
No, the genuine peal like we had before the war.
Do you remember when we last heard that, Diana?
No, when was it?
That Sunday in September, before war was declared. We went to church together. You were wearing a blue check suit. Suddenly the siren went. You put out your hand to me. It was in the middle of the creed.
Yes. I remember now.
A long time ago, that. Anyway, you both came out of it unscathed.
Oh, yes. We were the lucky ones.
Come and show me the blue border, Diana, and we'll pretend the war never happened.
Alas, the blue border went a long time ago.
There's a lot of beetroot there now. Why don't you take a look at that?
Why not? Matter of fact, I've become rather addicted to beetroot.
Ugh, I hate it.
I think I might go and sort out the rest of my books.
Do you want me to help you, Dad?
No, it's all right.
I might go over to the farm then. See what Uncle Richard is doing.
How do you feel about him going to Wales?
It's rotten. I'm sure he doesn't really want to go. The farming's not half so good there.
You like him, don't you?
You bet. He taught me to fish.
With my rod.
We didn't know you'd be coming back.
No. That must have made rather a difference.
It'll seem strange without him. Though lately, of course, he hasn't been here like before.
Before I came home?
Well, yes.
Yours wasn't such a bad war, was it, Robin?
We had a bomb once, half a mile away. There's an enormous crater still.
I wasn't thinking about bombs. Tell me something, Robin. What plans did you and Mummy have for your Easter holidays? If I hadn't come home.
Oh, I was going to stay with Dawson. That's a school friend of mine, for part of the holidays, while Mummy and Uncle Richard were...
Yes? It's all right, you can tell me.
Were in Scotland.
Scotland? Whereabouts?
Some little cottage Uncle Richard had taken. They were going to do all the cooking themselves. Then Mummy had to be back before the 29th because of a meeting in London. And we were all three going to the flat to have a week doing theatres and things before I went back to school.
I'm sorry I spoilt the plan.
You couldn't help it.
run along to the farm now.
Are you sure you don't want me to help with the books, Dad?
I don't think I'll bother with them after all.
I'll see you later then.
Benning? Benning? Benning!
Sir?
I shall be going up to London this evening with Sir Ernest. Will you pack a suitcase with my pyjamas, shaving kit, usual things?
Sir.
And I shall want you to travel up by train in a day or two. I'll let you know what I need.
Sir?
All right, Benning.
I suppose we'll have a national government for the next few years. The country won't be prepared for such violent changes all of a sudden. We'll see some new faces, I dare say. Which will be quite a good thing. I'm getting tired of a lot of the old ones. But no one's going to start a revolution.
What about me?
Oh, you're not in the running, Michael. You've opted for peace and quiet.
I've changed my mind.
What do you mean?
The starving millions want a leader to take them into the land of promise? Very well. I take back my refusal. Ernest, your offer is accepted.
This isn't a joke, is it?
I was never more serious in my life. I shall come up to London with you tonight. I must go and see to things.
What's he talking about?
I had a feeling he wouldn't back out of it.
What is it you're asking him to do?
The government want him back in Europe. But this time in the political field. There's no one better equipped for the job.
I still don't understand.
Is it really true you knew nothing of your husband's work all these years?
What work?
How much do you know?
Only what I've read in the papers. What else is there for me to know?
Very great deal. Michael was in touch with our people over here from the very first moment he landed in Greece.
What?
Yeah. He's been in contact with them by wireless for the past 3 years. He built up a secret organization, people who watched and waited and sent messages to him from the occupied countries. It was those people in the Balkans, Holland, Belgium, who helped our armies on the continent, all due to Michael's help.
Michael did that?
And with the risk of exposure and death hanging over him day and night all that time.
When did you find out?
Only a few days ago. His identity was known only to 1 or 2 people, certainly not to an ordinary politician like myself. Like you and like all his friends, I believe that Michael Wentworth crashed into the sea in 42 and was drowned.
You mean it was all a blind?
Yes.
How could he have been so cruel?
The best soldiers have always fought the hardest wars.
How could he leave like that, smiling and cheerful, knowing what he was going to do?
He happens to be rather fond of his country too, Diane.
Oh, you believe that? You think he gives a damn? You've heard him laugh at all the things we've been trying to do here at home. Do you think he cared for one moment? Or cared whether I broke my heart or married another man?
Oh, my dear.
I do want to love him as I loved him before.
You're very unhappy, aren't you?
Yes.
There's a terrible conflict in your mind. You've given love and loyalty to 2 men, and you've had to choose between them.
Oh, there's never been a question of choice. Michael came first, always.
But you want your choice to be justified, don't you? Richard is a fine, unselfish man.
He made me feel a person in my own right.
He can live without you. Michael can't.
He's managed well enough for 3 years.
Don't you see? That's the only thing that kept him sane. The thought of you and Robin and all this.
If I could believe that, it would make everything else bearable.
I'm ready when you are, Ernest. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll get roaring drunk tonight to celebrate the peace. If Diana wasn't such a wet blanket, she'd come up with us. But it wouldn't do for Diana Wentworth MP to be seen fighting in the streets. The girls' training corps might get to hear of it.
I'll come with you if you really want me to.
No, you'll be far happier down here with Nanny and Robin.
What are your plans? Does Venning know? Have you given orders about packing?
Yes, everything's laid on. I'm a quick worker when I get going. You can give me a bed tonight, can't you, Ernest?
Yes, of course.
Why didn't you go to my flat?
Your flat? Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
Do? You haven't seen it yet.
I don't think I'd want to. I'd feel wrong there.
Oh, what nonsense.
Why doesn't Diana come up in a few days and both of you go to the flat? You won't be off for a while, I imagine.
Yes, why not? Where will you be going this time?
Germany, I suppose, to join the fun and frolic with the rest.
Michael, Ernest told me the truth about what you did.
How very indiscreet of you, Ernest, to give away state secrets.
Isn't it time your wife knew something about your life?
My dear chap, it's always a mistake to find out too much about anybody else's life, and the closer you are to someone, the less you ought to know.
Cynical nonsense.
Do you really mean that, Michael?
Of course, my sweet. What about a little drink before we go, Ernest?
Not for me.
Actually, I haven't the slightest idea what I'm going to do, nor has Ernest. But I suppose first thing tomorrow morning I shall be dragged like a reluctant schoolboy before a lot of old gentlemen, and they will talk me over for a week, and then decide to send me in a special plane to some godforsaken spot, and this time I really shall fall into the sea.
Stop that now, Michael. Well, I'll just go and tell the chauffeur that we're leaving.
Ernest being tactful.
Is it really necessary for you to dash off with him this evening?
Once I've made up my mind about a thing, I like to be off and away, you know that. Anything else is anticlimax.
Why are you doing this, Michael? Is it a sudden wave of patriotism? It isn't that, is it?
Not exactly.
What then?
You came to a decision today, didn't you, that was difficult for you to make. Don't ask me how I know. I understand.
Oh, Michael.
And I thought, if you could win your battle, so could I. I suddenly realized that if we are going to make any future for Robin, for ourselves, I've got to help those people in Europe, just as you're going to help those over here. There can be no sitting back yet a while. Not for our generation.
That's the way you used to talk to me.
If you really feel like coming up in a few days, it'd be nice to see you.
Here's this young fellow back. Why don't we take him with us, huh?
He wouldn't want to come.
Why are you going to London, Daddy?
I've got to see some people.
When are you coming back?
I'm not sure.
You must come up with Mummy in a few days and join him at the flat.
Before I go back to school?
Yes.
Smashing.
I'll see you out there, Michael.
Me too.
Yeah.
What's the fastest your car's ever done, Sir Ernest?
About 60 miles an hour.
Don't come out. I hate anyone waving goodbye from a doorstep. It gives one such a feeling of finality.
There are so many questions I haven't asked you.
I wouldn't bother if I were you.
Will you promise to tell me next time you pretend to plunge into the sea and drown?
Next time I'll take you with me, and we'll make a proper job of it.
I believe you enjoyed it, Michael, and never thought of me at all.
I didn't think of anyone. You remember the Irish airman? I quoted him to my sergeant pilot before we crash-dived. Nor law nor duty bade me fight, nor public men, nor cheering crowds. A lonely impulse of delight drove to this tumult in the clouds. Good night, my darling.
Goodbye, Daddy. See you soon. The bells! Mummy! Mummy, the church bells. Can you hear them?
Yes, darling.
Who are you ringing up? Uncle Richard?
No, Miss Jameson.
I bet he's listening to them too.
Number 32, please. Is that Miss Jameson? Have you got that message to the GTC that we were working on this morning? That's right. Good, because I want to alter the end. Yes. Just put instead, we hope to build a wiser, happier Britain, where our children and ourselves shall grow in courage, faith, and understanding. Yes, that's all. Thank you, Miss Jameson. Good night.
Hello, Nan.
Aren't the bells wonderful? Aren't they lovely? Venning tells me the Colonel will be away for some time. Yes. The government want him for a very important post. Will it be abroad? I'm afraid so.
Uncle Richard is going away too. To Wales.
Yes, he told me.
Can we go up and see Daddy before he goes, Mummy?
Yes, darling. It's strange, isn't it? I was saying to Venning in the kitchen. All over the country, people have been longing and waiting, praying for this day to come. And now that it's here, it's been just like any other day. The war's over. Peace has come. And I suppose we shall all go back to being just the same as we were before. Shall we? I wonder.
The Years Between by Daphne du Maurier was adapted for radio by Jill Hyam. Diana Wentworth was played by Diana Quick, Michael Wentworth by Roger Allam, and Richard Llewellyn by David Collins. Sir Ernest Foster was played by Frederick Treves, Robin by Peter England, Nanny by Tessa Worsley, Venning by Michael Tudor Barnes, Miss Jameson by Julie Bond, and The Vicar by Derek Waring. The Years Between was directed by Cherry Cookson.
My lords, my ladies, gentlemen, girls, anyone, all of yous. We present The London Vertigo by Brian Friel. The which play is based upon
The True-Born Irishman by Carl MacLachlan.
A drama which also answers to the name The Irish Fine Lady by Mr. Charles Macklin, Esquire.
You can't say Mr. and Esquire.
Call me Count, then. Count Mushroom. Must, my friend.
Will you hush the lot Dubliners, Irish men and Irish women. The London Vertigo by Brian Friel. Mr. O'Doherty, sir. Mr. O'Doherty.
Yeah, what is it?
Your brother-in-law gives his compliments to you, Mr. O'Doherty.
Yes, Cathy, yes.
Councillor Hamilton, the barrister.
Yes?
He gives his compliments to you, sir.
Oh, splendid, Cathy, thank you.
He's on his way upstairs.
What's that you have in your hand?
A card for my mistress from Madame Mulrooney.
Pray, let me see it. Mrs. Mulrooney makes her compliments to Mrs. Murrow O'Doherty and likewise to Mr. Murrow O'Doherty, and hopes to have the favour of their company on Sunday 17th instant to play at cards, sup and spend the evening with Count Mushroom, Lady Kinnegad, Lord Ballybeg, Captain Kilmaine, Major Bellahy, Lady Belmullet. Here, Cathy, take this to your mistress. I have nothing to say to it.
Very well, Mr. O'Doherty.
Mrs. Mulrooney. Listen, she's another of the fine ladies of this country who, like my wife, is sending her soul to the devil and her husband to jail as fast as she can. Mr. Mulrooney, the boob, has scarce £1,000 a year in the world, yet he spends above 2,000 in equipage, in other words, on a carriage and servants, on jolly parties and high living. Besides what his fool of a wife loses to that female sharper, my Lady Kinnegad, which, if I may judge by my own wife, is at least a good 2,000 more. So that, by the rule of subtraction, take £4,000 a year out of £1,000, and in a very little time nothing will remain but the jail, or a fast packet boat to France. Money. They think it grows on trees, these women.
Moa! I'm extremely glad to see you.
By my faith, and so am I you too, Tomo. You are most welcome, brother-in-law. And Zeus, give us a kiss, man. I give you my honour. I'm as glad to see you in Dublin at this juncture as I should be to see 100 head of fat bullocks upon my own land, all ready for Ballinasloe fair.
That is a great compliment from you, brother. Fat bullock. Curious image.
A very true compliment, I assure you.
All beef, no brains.
And I see by the newspapers that my sister is returned from the coronation frolics.
George III?
September the 22nd, 1761.
London?
England.
God bless His Majesty.
She has returned with a vengeance.
What's the matter?
Returned with a distemper that will soon affect the whole nation. It is called the Irish Fine Ladies' Delirium, or the London Vertigo.
London Vertigo? What may that be?
Oh, the devil an inhabitant in Jonathan Swift's Hospital for Lunatics is in a worse pickle than she is.
Opened in Dublin here 4 years ago. He gave the little wealth he had to found a house for fools and mad.
If you were to hear her when the fit is upon her, oh, she is as mad. The devil a thing in this poor country but what gives her the spleen and the vapours. Then such a frenzy of admiration for everything in England. And among the rest of her madness, she has brought back with her a new language.
A new
kind of London English that is no more like our Irish English than a fine gilded carriage is like a Carrickmore cart. What name do you think she went by when she was in England?
What do you mean?
What did she call herself over there?
What would she call herself but Nancy O'Doherty?
O'Doherty! Upon me honour, Tom, she startles when she hears the name O'Doherty, and blushes, and is much ashamed, as if a man said something bawdy to her. Oh, no, my friend. My wife, your sister, is no longer the plain, modest, good-natured, domestic, obedient Irish Mrs. O'Doherty. In other words, the perfect wife. But the travelled, rampant, high-lifed, prancing English Mrs. Diggerty.
Diggerty?
Diggerty! Was there ever such impertinence? Nor is that all of your sister's whims and madnesses.
There is more.
She wants me to go after a title. Can you imagine? Young Lord Turnabout has hinted to her that if I throw my weight behind him in the coming election, a title is mine for the asking. And that piece of information has stirred up such a rage of quality and title in her giddy head that I cannot rest night or day for her importunity.
Good heavens!
She would have me desert my friends and sell myself, my honour, and my country.
Sell my country? He really means it would cost him money.
Sell my country, as several others have done before me, so that she may sink the ancient name of O'Doherty in the upstart title of Lady Ahole, or Lady Culmore, or some such ridiculous nonsense. Oh, Tom, I have many grievances to tell you of, but I have one that is even more whimsical than all the rest.
Tell me.
I am going to be a cuckold.
My sister? Your wife? You mean she's going to...
There is an English coxcomb just arrived among us in this town who thinks every woman that sees him is in love with him.
Who is this spark?
His name is Mushroom, as in mushroom. Morris Mushroom. The Count Morris Mushroom.
And he lives here, this cuckold maker.
You know those huge estates owned by Lord Oldcastle?
On which your family for generations have had long and profitable leases.
The same.
Is the boob getting saucy?
And have sublet at enormous profit to much less fortunate Irishmen.
Indeed he is.
Well, my Lord Oldcastle has made this Mushroom his agent in this country and sent him over to settle his affairs here. Now, One of the main businesses he must conclude is an agreement between Oldcastle and me on the terms of the leases. And Mushroom and I not being able to agree on the terms, what does the coxcomb do?
You and he disagree.
Noodle brain.
What he does is this, Tom. He sends my wife a warm billet doux, in which he very gallantly tells her that she shall settle the leases at her own price, only upon the trifling condition that he may be permitted now and again to be the occasional lord of her ladyship's matrimonial manor.
So he just wants occasional lodgings here, Mother?
In a manner of speaking, yes.
Close to genius, wouldn't you say?
That is trifling indeed.
Do you think so?
Himself, his sister, all the Hamiltons, mahogany heads.
And pray, what says my sister to all this?
Oh, she knows nothing of it.
But she got Mushroom's letter, did she not?
I intercepted it, with the help of Catty Farrell. And with Catty's assistance, I have carried on a correspondence with the fellow in my wife's name, unknown to her, of course. And by that means I shall not only detect and expose the fellow, but get an excellent bargain of the leases, which are sure to be signed this very day.
But, Mother, you couldn't accept the leases upon those terms.
Could I not?
And he's a barrister. Question is, how did the noodle ever qualify?
Forging letters in my sister's name. Lord Counterfeit.
Of course. He'd never make a living anywhere else but at the law.
And involving decent Catty Farrell in his corruption. Oh, no wonder Mammy always hated him.
Sir, Count Mushroom is below.
I will wait upon him, Catty. Now, brother, you shall see one of the pertest and most conceited, impudent coxcombs that has ever been imported into this land, or that disgraced humanity.
My compliments to your lady, Mrs. Catty. I will be with her in the twinkling of a star.
Do you hear?
Or in less time than a single glance of her own immortal beauty can pass to the centre of an amorous heart.
Oh, control, Morrow O'Doherty, control.
My dear Diggett, I kiss your hand. I am come on purpose to discuss the leases that you and I... I beg 10,000 pardons, I see you are busy.
Oh, indeed, Count, we are not. Tom Hamilton, my wife's brother, Count Mushroom.
Sir, I feel a superlative happiness in being known to you. I have long expected and long wished for it with a lover's appetite.
Ooh.
Therefore, without waiting for the dull advocation of experience or the pedantic forms of ceremony, I beg you will honour me with a niche in your esteem, and register me in the select catalogue of your most constant and most ardent friends and admirers.
That's right.
And he'll be a judge someday.
Give me your hand, Hamilton. It's Tom, isn't it? Yes, it's Tom. Give me your hand, dear Tom Hamilton. You are Diggoty's friend. Diggity is my friend. I am Diggoty's friend. So it follows that you and I are destined to be friends, since friends of friends must naturally be friends too. But that's enough. I'll serve you. Say no more. I'll serve you. Rely upon me, friend.
You live in this town, Count?
Yes, well, quite en famille. I go about everywhere. I'm of no party but those of love, pleasure, and gallantry. The women like me and commend me at cards, tea, scandal, and dancing. The men commend me at jolly parties, a late hour, a bottle, and huzzah.
A hazard. In other words, dice. You know, a small cube having its faces marked with spots numbering from...
They know, Tom, they know.
I love ease, hate ceremony, and am at home wherever I go. Correct, Diggity?
To give you your due, Count, you are never bashful in any place.
Bashfulness, dear Diggity, is a mask of ignorance, a disease of the vulgar and uncourtly, what we men of the world are never infected with. But to business, my friend.
Business?
The leases, Diggity. Lord Oldcastle's leases.
Oh, of course.
Yes. Cards on the table, my friend. My lord is loath to lose you as a tenant, just as I am convinced it would be for his interest that you should have the land. Yes. So, let us sign and seal at once, upon your own terms. For really, I think tenants in Ireland want encouragement. They are racked too high, they are indeed. It is a shame they should be racked so high. You want encouragement in trade, too. Tax concessions, greater incentives, relief in exports, that sort of thing. Oh, I'll speak to some people of consequence about it on the other side, yes.
On the other side of what?
London, Tom, London.
Oh, will you?
Yes, upon my honour, the moment I return.
And you English politicians promise us the devil and all while you were among us. But the moment you get to the other side, you have devilishly bad memories.
Yeah.
You seem to like Ireland, sir.
A damn fine country, Tom. Upon the whole, take you all together, you're a damned honest story-rory, rantum-scantum, dancing, singing, laughing, boozy, jolly, friendly, fighting, hospitable people. And I like you mightily.
You see, nothing changes, does it?
Oh, I do upon honour. And I believe I shall marry one of your women here, grow domestic, and settle among you. But I beg pardon, my dear Diggity. I must rob you of my company for a moment to pay my duty to your lady. And Hamilton, yours. Give me thy hand, Diggity. From this moment, set me down as thy unalterable friend. I'll serve you. Rely upon me. I'll serve you. And now, to try my hand at casual lodgings, bed and perhaps board.
Didn't I tell you? There never was so conceited and so impudent a coxcomb as that coffee. Cathy, is your fine mistress dressed yet?
The mistress, sir, she has had a little misfortune, sir.
Oh, speak up, Cathy. No secrets here.
You know that bill that came from Covent Garden from the mayor, sir, there?
In other words, the waper.
I gave her the money for that 2 days ago, Cathy.
Lost it all last night to Lady Kinnegad.
My God, all?
Playing brag.
A kind of poker that's played with... She played brag with that sharper.
And to cover up her excesses, she's going to borrow from Count Mushroom.
And what collateral has she? Don't answer that.
Oh, Mother! The woman has lost all sense of shame.
She is not to borrow from Mushroom, Catty. Here. Give her this.
Yes, sir.
Say you borrowed it from your brother, from a friend. Say you... Aha, my dear.
Brother, I'm beastly glad to see you.
Welcome home from England, Nancy.
I am immensely obliged to you, brother.
Did it answer your expectations?
Ravishingly.
Indeed.
Transcendently.
I'm glad
Beyond all degrees of comparison. England, brother. England is just vast, immense, ecstatic. I never knew life before. Everything there is high, tip-top, the Grand Monde, the Bun-Tun.
Bun-Tun?
And quite tasty.
She liked it.
And London?
London? The place of the world, brother.
And in this town, I suppose.
This town? Where? Where? I forgot. What is the name of this place?
Dublin.
Dublin. Oh, that's it. Oh, dear brother. London, Dublin, don't name them together. After London, everything I set my eyes on here gives me the ennui and the contre-cure.
Contre-cure?
The streets are mean, the houses dirty, the people ridiculous, and the women. None of the nonchalancy, none of that Jenny C. Coy we have in London.
Jenny C. Coy.
And everything sounds so strange here. Everybody talks so peculiar. I scarcely understand them. Even the very dogs, when they bark, I swear, they bark with a brogue.
As strong a brogue as your mother, Madge Gallagher, from Donegal town, ever had.
You are a very rude man to remind me of my mother's family. You know I always despised my mother's family. Didn't I, brother? I hate the very name of... what was my mother's name?
Gallagher.
That's it. Gallagher. hate it.
Tell us about the coronation, sister. No doubt you were there.
There? Oh, mon Dieu. Quelle question. Ask the Count.
Oh, yes, she was everywhere and with everybody. The court never stirred without her.
But the highlight of the visit was the feast in Guildhall. That was just immense. I went to it with Her Grace, a friend of mine, and a Perty of the court, as one of the household. Was it the coronation itself? I was so brilliant that night at the coronation ball that the Count was moved to write a poem about me.
Oh, heavens, madam.
It's true. And he is one of the prettiest poets we have in England, or, for that matter, in what's the name of this?
Ireland.
Ireland, that's it. Oh, he is, by my honour.
I don't doubt the gentleman's talents in the least.
No, you are most polite, sir, and the lady is pleased to rally.
In other words, to banter.
My muse is but a smatterer, a slattern, a mere slipshod lady.
What I say is true. And to convince you of his worth, will you be so obliging as to read them to my brother?
The nod of beauty sways both gods and men, and I obey. Gentlemen, the title will at once let you into the whole of what you are to expect in this little production. An extempore on the famous Mrs. Diggory dancing at court.
Hallelujah!
Oh, God. Now, attend. When beauteous Diggory leads up the dance in fair Britannia's court, then every heart is in a prance and longs for Cupid's sport.
Cupid's sport? Oh, naughty.
Bows ogle and pant and gaze, bells envy and sneer, yet praise, as Venus herself were there.
Venus? Oh, Count.
And prudes agree it must be she.
Must be Venus herself.
It must be she or Diggory. It must be she or Diggory, or Diggory the fair. That's it, gentlemen. A slight effort of the muse, a mere jeu d'esprit.
My Lady Kinnegad and my Lady Bell Mullett have arrived, Mrs. O'Doherty.
Who is that creature addressing? Nobody of that name here, my dear.
I want to sign those leases now, Count. Now. I'll await you downstairs. Come with me, Catty. I want a word with you.
With all my heart, Diggory.
You'll return later this evening, Count, won't you? I'm having some titled friends in for cards.
Do I breathe? Do I exist? I will but step down, sign the papers, and return tonight on the wings of inclination. Ma chère belle, sans adieu.
Oh, au revoir. Oh, then every heart is in a prance. Isn't he the most humorous creature, Tom?
Most.
And mighty witty. Don't you think so?
Mighty.
And longs for Cupid's sport. Oh, and so do I. Oh, brother, you are looking at a transported woman. Adieu.
Compared with her, the inhabitants of Swift's Hospital for Lunatics are marvellously sane. Oh, the poor woman. She is very far gone and must be pinched to the quick, and shall this very night. Thank heaven our mammy has passed on. Bon ton, wowie-towie, wantum scantum. What do those words mean? Mustache mirror, no Dougherty, no mother, no Diggity, oh God!
My dear, you must listen to reason.
Reason? Reason? I will have no reason, Mr. Diggory. There can be no reason against what I say. Oh, you are the strangest man. Not to be a lord. I insist upon it, sir. There necessity for a peerage.
Well, show me the necessity then, and all my objections will vanish.
Why, sir, I am affronted for want of a title.
Oh.
A parcel of upstarts, with their crownets upon their coaches, their chairs, their spoons, their handkerchiefs, nay, on their very knockers.
She means on their doors.
Creatures that were below me but t'other day are now truly my superiors, and have their precedency, and are set above me at table.
Come, Enid, don't be in such a fluster.
Can there be anything more provoking to a woman of my taste and spirit than to hear the titles of these ugly creatures bawled in one's ear on every occasion?
Oh, heavens above.
My lady Kinnagad's coach here, my lady Balmullet's chair there, my lady Ahowell's chariot here, and what are they all? Upstarts with titles. And then consider how vile my name sounds.
Oh, there she goes again.
Mrs. Diggerty's servants here. Mrs. Diggerty's chair there. Mrs. Diggerty's coach here. Oh, it's mean. It's beggarly. I can't bear it. The very thought of it makes me ready to burst my stays. And almost throws me into hysteria.
No, my dear, don't work yourself up into a fit.
Oh, my life is miserable. But I see your design.
Design?
You have a mind to break my heart. Oh! Yes, you argue and contradict me for no other end. You do everything to fresh and vex me.
What does that mean?
Ever since I returned from England to this
Ireland.
That's the odious name. Ever since my unhappy return, I have been requesting, begging, praying that you would send to London for a set of long-tailed horses that you know I admire so much.
Have you any idea of the cost?
Lady Bellybeak has a set. Lady Kilmaine has a set. Lady Newry has a set. You know very well I detest a short tail. Don't we all? Every lady of figure loves long tails. Nobody but doctors, lawyers, and country merchants have short tails now.
Very well, my dear, very well. You will have tails as long as Lord Newry or Lord Ballybig or whoever. As to the title, if it can be had...
You know it can be had. Just open your tight purse. Let me hear no more about it. For a title I will have. I can't bear being plain Mrs. Diggerty any longer. Oh!
Is Mrs. O'Doherty ill, sir?
Very ill, with distemper. Well, Catty...
Everything's in hand, sir.
The house is empty.
Yes, sir.
Her card friends all gone.
Everybody's left, sir. They promised to return in an hour.
Good. And Mushroom?
He got out of his carriage at the gate and crept back to the house.
And where is he now?
In the back parlour. Dressing himself in my lady's clothes.
That you provided?
On your instructions, sir.
Shh, I know. How did you persuade him?
I told him if he were sighted, he would pass as a laundry woman. You never saw a man, a woman, so eager, so...
Oh, please, Catty.
Bursting with expectation, in a manner of speaking.
Oh, Catty, please.
He's 10 times fonder of himself as a woman than he was as a man, if that's possible.
Oh, I'll cure him of his passion for himself and for all Irish women as long as he lives. Oh, here comes her brother. Let us get out of their way.
Yes, sir.
For he is resolved to startle the lady and waken her, if possible. Oh, they will have a very sharp brush, I reckon. Mushroom's turn comes later.
Sit up and pay attention to me, Nancy. The others sometimes have stern duty to perform. Sister, I have words for you.
Can't you see I'm in no state?
Immediately, madam. This very instant. You are not ignorant that your husband took you without a fortune. You know, too, that by the marriage articles, upon a separation or your husband's death, you are entitled to only £100 a year. Now, madam, I am commissioned to inform you that the doors are open and that the stipulated sum will be paid punctually.
You are not...
For know that neither your husband's love, my affection, nor a residence in this house can be enjoyed by you another hour, but on the hard condition of a thorough reformation.
You're telling me...
If female vanity will be mad, husbands must be peremptory. I used that line in court once. The judge commended it. The sums of money you have squandered, and those you have been cheated of by your female friends. That is the least offence in your husband's judgment. It is your pride, your midnight revels, insolence of taste, rage of puissancy that grieve him. For they have made you the ridicule of every flirt and coxcomb, and the scorn and pity of every sober person that knows your folly. This reflects disgrace upon your friends, contempt upon the spirit and credit of your husband, and has furnished whispering suspicion with stories and implications.
Whispering suspicion with stories and implications?
Which have secretly fixed an infectious stain upon your chastity.
My chastity? I defy the world. I care not what slander says. I will rely upon my innocence. That was a bit hasty, wasn't it?
It is not sufficient to rely on innocence alone, madam. Women must not only be innocent, they must appear so too. This play was written over 200 years ago. Times, unfortunately, have changed.
I don't know what you mean by all this, brother. I beg you will explain.
I will. Know then that the coxcomb Mushroom took some hints your liberty had given him.
I gave him hints? Brother, you...
And, like a true man of intrigue, not only returns your hints with a letter of gallantry, but bribes your own woman to deliver it.
Catty! I'll turn her out.
But the maid, instead of carrying the letter to you, delivers that and many others to her master.
To dear Murrah?
Who, in your name, hand, style, and sentiment, has answered them all and carried on an amorous correspondence with the gentleman.
Mushroom!
Even up to an assignation, and now, at this very instant, the spark is preparing for that happy interview.
With my husband? Oh, Tom,
with you, sister. Not only that, but he has made the whole town confident of his good fortune.
Oh, Lord.
Now, judge what your husband, your brother, and your friends must think of her whose conduct could entitle a coxcomb to such liberties.
I shall make no defence, brother. The story shocks me. Help me. Advise me. Well, I'm caught, haven't I? Only say what I shall do to be revenged upon this fellow for his impudence, and what will convince my husband and you, Tom, and all the world of my innocence, and I will do it. Oh, Tom, you have given such a stirring to my heart, and such a trouble and a trembling as it never felt before.
It is the stirring of virtue, sister.
It is?
Encourage it.
Oh, I will.
For tears of repentance are the brightest ornaments a modern lady can be decked in.
Wouldn't he give you an ache in the jerkin?
I shall be in here, Catty. I shall be in here. At the moment he makes a move, bring me word.
Oh, I shall, sir.
It's Mr. Diggerty. Oh, brother, I'm ashamed to face him.
Well, Tom, have you spoken to her?
There she is, sir, bathed in tears of humility and repentance, as she should be.
Oh, you've gone too far, brother. You shouldn't have made her cry.
Oh.
Nancy, child, turn round and don't be crying there.
I'm ashamed to look you in the face, sir.
Had I been here, brother, I assure you, you should not have made her cry.
My errors, I acknowledge.
Nancy.
And for the future, it will be the business of my life to...
No more. No, not another word. No more. If you've settled everything with your brother here, that is sufficient. All right. Turn around and give me a kiss. Let us be friends at once. There. In that kiss now, let all tears and uneasiness subside in you, as all fears and resentment shall die in me.
I must have my kiss of peace too. I own I have been a little severe with you, but your disease did require sharp medicine.
Now, Nancy, I have a favour or two to beg of you.
Command the Murrah.
Now, the first thing I ask is that you sack that French cook and let us have the food that every ordinary Irishman has.
He goes tomorrow. Back to the frying pan.
Then, let us be rid of your London English with your Neems and your Teasties and your Veasleys and your Immensleys.
They're dispensed with now.
And above all things, pray never again call me Diggerty. My name is Murrow O'Doherty, and I am not ashamed of it. But that damned name, Diggerty, my dear, it dements me.
Then upon my honour, Murrah O'Doherty, you'll never be demented again. That wasn't too bad after all, was it?
Mr. Mushroom is on his way up, sir.
In my lady's clothes?
What's this?
Yes, sir.
Mushroom? In my clothes?
And looking very pretty, madam.
Has he gone suddenly soufflé?
Gone what?
You know, soufflé.
In other words, made fluffy with beaten egg whites and then heated in an oven until it puffs up.
Mushroom? Soufflé? Oh, not that toadstool. Catty, detain him for a moment.
Sir.
You go to your room. I'll come and instruct you how to behave.
Anything to be avenged on that pup.
Now, leave me with him, Tom. We mustn't prevent that man from making me a cuckold.
Be sure you make the gentleman smart.
I'll make him smart, all right. And smarter. Impudent rascal. To make a cuckold of an Irishman. Take our own trade out of our own hands. And a branch of business we pride ourselves so much in, too. Why, sure that and the manufacture of linen are the only free trades we have. Soufflé. Never heard that term before.
I protest I should not have known you, sir.
Don't you think I make a handsome woman, Mrs. Catty?
You are a perfect beauty, sir. Madam. I go and see if the coast is clear and tell my mistress you are come.
Tell her my soul is all rapture, ecstasy and transport and rides upon the wings of love. A man must speak nonsense to these creatures, or they will not believe he loves them. Trouble is, all these Irish women love me. I'll have more intrigues in this country than I shall know what to do with. Old Diggerty here, when I tire of her, I bring her across to England and bequeath her to my Lord Oldcastle. Oh, my angel, my goddess!
It's not. Is it? Count Mushroom?
The same, all a quiver. Oh, my delight.
But if my husband should discover you...
Love despises all dangers when such beauty as yours is the prize. Catty, see you are not distracted. Come to me. Now.
But your attire, Count. Can your passion be sincere?
Dear creature, do but lay your hand upon my heart. Here.
Ooh.
Feel what an alarm of love and gratitude it beats. Now, madam, let's retire to your chamber. We may be interrupted here.
You can't speak to her now, sir.
Pray, why not?
It's Murrah O'Doherty. Oh, Murrah O'Diggerty.
Oh, God.
Because she is ill, sir.
Oh, all the more reason I must see her.
Oh, Mr. Soufflé, I'm deeply compromised.
Mr. Who?
Oh, madam, run down the back stairs, quick.
A jukes, middear.
Run.
I'm going too.
Oh, no, you're not, sir.
Let go of me, Mrs. Catty.
Oh, hold on a second, sir.
Let me go, Catty.
You're safer here, sir.
What are you doing, woman?
Protecting you, sir.
Oh, Catty, please.
You and your lady mustn't be seen together.
Excellent thinking.
Leave it all to me. You stay here. I'll put out the candles. He will take you for my mistress.
But if
he... pretends to be very ill. Mimic a fine lady that has the vapours or the colic.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Ah, you're in the dark, my dear. Why is that?
My mistress is very ill and cannot bear the light.
Oh? What's her complaint?
The
colic.
Oh, there's no cure in the dark, Catty. Light the candles.
No candles. No lights, dear. Please, no lights.
She has a headache, as well as the vapours.
And the colic.
And lights increase the headache and the colic.
And the vapours.
Let her sit in the dark and she'll be well soon. Are you feeling better now, madam?
Oh, a great deal, but no lights, please. No lights, no lights.
Well, if you prefer no lights, my sweet, then you will have no lights.
Thank you, my dear.
Catty, leave us. I have some special business with your mistress.
Special business?
Very intimate business, my soul.
Ooh, very good, sir.
Don't leave, Catty. I have the colic, sir, and the vapours, sir. And, sir, I have a very bad headache. Catty!
Now, my dear, I want to talk to you about something that has given me utmost unease. Nay, indeed, the utmost torture of my mind. My dear, I am jealous.
Jealous?
As are half the husbands of the town, and all occasioned by one man, that coxcomb Mushroom.
He is a very great coxcomb indeed.
And a great jackanapes.
Oh, yeah, a huge jackanapes, my dear, an enormous jackanapes.
And a popinjay.
Mushroom? Oh, yes, a popinjay, and a mountebank.
And a poltroon.
Oh, and a varlet and a malapert and a macaroni. Oh, what a macaroni.
In other words, a fop. A dandy.
Mushroom the macaroni.
Oh, that's good. And a libertine, would you say?
Well, indeed, I would say a libertine. And a charlatan. And the colic and the vapours and a headache. Oh, how I despise the man.
Do you, my dear?
Oh, thoroughly. Without qualification.
No, I must own the fellow has something genteel in him.
Oh, yes, my dear. He is a very pretty fellow. That all the world allows.
But his prettiness will be his ruin.
Will it?
For as he makes it his business and his boast to win the affection of women everywhere he goes... And as he has made conquests of several married women in this town...
No, mere gossip, my dear. They always blab, the bitches.
There are half a dozen husbands of us that have agreed...
Agreed?
To poison him.
Poison? But that would be murder, my dear.
It will. But before we get to that... One of our company has vowed that if Mushroom ever enters this house again, he will put 10 inches of cold iron into the rascal's bowels.
Bowels?
Can you imagine?
I can. Oh, God, I can.
As for you, my dear, if I ever catch the fellow ogling you, following you around...
What? An old bat like me?
Even smiling at you, I will put the lining of this... little pistol into the very middle of his skull.
Oh, no.
Oh, why are you all of a tremor, my soul?
I'm ill, dear sir.
Oh, you have the shaking ache. You're all in a cold sweat.
Mighty ill, sir.
Oh, indeed you are. Oh, Catty! Oh, you must have help immediately.
Yes.
Catty. Send for Mr. Carnage, the surgeon.
Huh?
He must bleed my wife at once.
Mr. Carnage? Yes, sir.
And fetch Dr. Philgrave, too.
Dr. Philgrave, sir.
Tell him my wife is very ill and must be thoroughly blistered.
No, I'm feeling better already. What the hell shall I do now? I'll certainly be discovered.
How are you now, my dear?
Oh, better. A great deal.
Splendid. Look, I'll have you bled plentifully and 10 good rousing blisters laid on by way of prevention. Now, I'll leave you now, me dear. Just lie still and rest until the medical men come. When I'm finished with him, he'll be cured forever of trespassing upon matrimonial premises.
Oh, God. I wish I were out of this damned country. I've often heard of the wild Irish, but never believed it until now. Savages, barbarians, poison a man for merely having an intrigue with his wife. We never mind such things in England. No lights, please. No lights.
It's only me, sir, and Mrs. Diggertay.
If you don't get me out of this damned house, madam, I'm a dead man.
I'm distracted. I can't think. My husband suspects that
I suspect you. He's going to shoot me. Help me.
Tell him you came here in that disguise. Just to give him a laugh.
Just to give him a... Oh, the woman's an idiot. Mrs. Catty, help me, please. I have got to get out of this place now.
The portmanteau trunk. You might be able to fit into it.
Anything, dear Mrs. Catty. My life is in your hands. If I escape from this damned country, my dear, I promise you'll never see... Oh. Excellent, Mrs. Catty. The very thing.
Get in. Hurry up. My master's coming.
Will I fit?
Quick.
Put in my clothes. There. Cram me in. Buckle me up.
No.
Will I have enough air? Very well. Excellent well, Mrs. Catty. It will do. Snug. Damn snug.
What are you doing with that portmanteau?
Nothing, sir. We're just,
What have you got in there?
Oh, it's only...
Now speak this minute, or I'll put me sword up to the hilt in it.
Hold, my dear Diggerty.
Who's that?
It's I.
I? Who is I?
It's a Mushroom. Your friend, Mushroom.
What's the coxcomb up to now?
It's the Count. Your friend, the Count.
The Count, indeed. Or is it the Countess?
Is he going on his holidays?
I can explain everything, Diggerty.
I'm sure you can. And I'll give you every opportunity.
No, help.
But we have invited half the town in tonight, and they all want to peep at you. Here, give me a hand here. He's got to be transported downstairs to greet our guests. Oh, that's it.
You're killing me.
Careful there. That's a valuable parcel, and we've got to keep him healthy at least for a few more hours. And that's the end of our story. How Count Mushroom made himself an object for a farce. But then, if every fine lady and every coxcomb in this town were turned into a farce, we'd be the merriest people in all Europe. But ours is over for tonight. Indeed, I think it's fairly ended. The coxcombs punished, the fine Irish ladies mended.
For the time being.
And that was The London Vertigo by Brian Friel.
A.K.A. The True-Born Irishman by Cathal Macklin, Mr.
Or The Irish Fine Lady by Charles McLaughlin, Esquire.
With Mr. Bosco Hogan as...
Murrow O'Doherty, I am not ashamed of it.
And Mrs. Catherine Brennan as...
Oh, I forgot. What's me name?
Nancy O'Doherty, née Gallagher.
Madame Diggerty, the beauteous Diggerty, Venus herself.
Mr. Malcolm Douglas was Count Morris Mushroom.
Adieu, au revoir, I shall serve you, rely upon me.
Mr. Frank Kelly played...
Hamilton, Tom Hamilton, Dallastar at law.
And Deirdre Monaghan played I, Mrs. Catty, Mrs. Audio presentation was by Aidan O'Doul.
Mr. Aidan Doyle.
Sound effects by Ronan McHugh.
Ronan, good Irish name.
And Aidan Matthews.
1 tea or 2.
Produced The London Vertigo by Brian Friel.